I don't know how much of this I'll be able to handle, but we'll do our best.
My video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast. Altogether, it did around...
Because he's counting the views off of Twitter/X. Notoriously reliable these days.
500 million views.
Who do you think were the main people who signal boosted the video and brought it into that true viral orbit?
Elon Musk, who shared the video. JD Vance, he shared the video. You had the Attorney General. Well, she actually didn't share it. She reacted to the video a few days later. Literally, quite frankly, every account on X saw that video instantaneously. Health and Human Services, they froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota, and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses. That
they had to do that already. You can't just roll up to the government office and say, "Hello, I have business. Money me now?" And then they just hand you a comedically large sack of cash. That's how conservatives genuinely think this works. That's how these conservative dipshits genuinely think this works. They verify that you're a business. You have to have your employee, you have to have like a fucking business ID. You have to like verify your existence with the state. It's true. We saw, we had a racist come in when I was trying to talk about this the other day, who was like, well, you know, I'm not a racist. The state of Minnesota's Democrats just have a double standard where they let Somali folks get away with crimes because they need the Somali vote in order to win. And it's just like, that's not, you know, you could look up like crime stats and see who is disproportionately incarcerated, and you know, if you did that, one might come to a very different conclusion about which racial and ethnic groups are you know, having the government look the other way on their business crimes. But I will also say, like, it's just really stupid. It really is that stupid. They're just like, oh, Democrats need to cheat at elections, and so obviously they don't charge Somalis with crimes. That's their argument. It's literally the argument like an 8-year-old might make.
are not really businesses.
As far as that main center that you visited, Quality Learning, aka Quality Learning Center.
Yeah.
Was there ever any kids there in the first place?
No. So that daycare center, it's been operating fraudulently.
There's no way he's ever had a real job in his life. You're correct. His job was YouTube prankster, and then he went on his Mormon mission trip, and then when he came back, he started making anti-immigrant videos. Like nonstop. And he hasn't stopped for like 2 years.
It's actually had over 90 violations over the past few years, and the day that I went there at 11 a.m. Their operating hours are from 2 to 10 p.m., they're now saying, and that's actually not legal.
So you said you went there at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
And their operating hours are between 2 and 10 p.m.?
Allegedly.
But if that is true, would it have made sense that you didn't see any kids there?
Yeah, it would have made sense if I didn't see.
Yeah, if you went there outside of the operating hours, it would make sense that you didn't see children there, yep. When conservatives encounter this point, though, they're just like, well, what if they were lying about the business hours so that they could have time to put fake kids in there in order to seem like a real daycare? And it's genuinely some Looney Tunes ass garbage.
Children there. Either way, whether I was there when kids were supposed to be there or not, why are all the windows boarded up? Or why are all the windows blacked out? Why is it?
So people don't come around and break the windows, because that was a huge problem. Because a couple years ago, some people were doing random acts of property damage during the George Floyd protests. That happened. That's why a lot of them have boarded up windows. But also, a lot of them have boarded up windows so that weirdos don't look at like leer at the kids. It's not that hard to figure out.
There's no phone number that leads to anywhere. These businesses are supposed to be operating to serve children. People should be able to check in their child there and their children into these daycares.
They are able to do that. They buzz in. during operating hours or call the front desk.
It's literally impossible.
Did you see some of the footage released by CBS Minnesota affiliate station that showed kids entering and exiting the facility?
Yeah, the one on
Hey, did you just see what that child did in that footage, by the way?
CBS Minnesota affiliate station that showed kids.
That kid literally walks up and
Entering
buzzes
and
the
exiting the
door,
facility.
and like a lady opens the door.
Yeah,
for them.
the one on the
Crazy.
ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that one received over $1 million. It's licensed for 40.
Yeah, also, it isn't illegal to operate a daycare after school hours because some kids need to be in daycare after school hours because parents are at work. Like,
Children. CBS, I believe, they go in there the day after I post my video. Obviously, they're gonna have children there when they're getting all this heat.
I take my kids here.
yeah, they got all those fake moms and dads to drop their kids off at their fake daycare center for some reason.
2 o'clock to 10. Yeah, there's a lot of kids inside.
And same thing at that daycare. Why are all of the windows blacked out? This is a daycare. Why can't a lady just give me a paper to enroll a child? This door is locked.
Why would people leave their kids between 2 and 10 p.m.? Well, Nick, there is a thing called school, and a thing called a 9 to 5 and overtime.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. There are also people who work late. You know, like, it's not a difficult thing to figure out. Why wouldn't they give me a form to enroll a child? I don't know, maybe because you're rolling up with a bunch of masked dudes?
This facility is licensed for 40 children.
Well, I guess maybe I'm just trying to think from all perspectives and help you clear up some misconceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure like if you're going with a camera and like 3 or 4 dudes, some of whom were like larger security looking guys, some had face gaiters on, maybe.
Which, by the way, after going through that Nick Shirley video, we now know that Officer Tatum has a private security company now, and these guys are all folks who work for Officer Tatum. Which, if you guys don't know who that is, Officer Tatum is a conservative content creator on YouTube. Just in case y'all weren't aware.
The first Shire scene in Fellowship of the Ring.
Be quiet, Corridor crew, with your fascinating facts about movie-making magic. Oh, yeah, his most recent video about Miss Rachel. Cool. Awesome stuff. 3.7 million subscribers, and he has a private security firm that he donated security to Nick Shirley for this video. You can see them milling around in the background. And also, Nick Shirley is name dropping
yes.
them.
I finally
videos.
uncovered the clear truth about something I already decided was true long before investigating, and everyone's trying to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a fear that there's like something weird going on, or it just seems unfamiliar and they feel like they don't want to let you in.
Yeah, they might feel that fear, but if they're operating legally, why would they have anything to fear? And the neighbors around it said they have not seen a child there for 8 years. And if you go on Google Maps right now, you can actually see the images of the daycare progress over the past few years. And starting in 2021,
Can I just say I do appreciate Andrew Callahan
the images of the daycare progress over
putting this specific video like montage or image montage up here
the past
where
few years.
Oh, weird. There are children outside the daycare center.
And starting in 2021, the door is boarded up from the image from Google Maps.
Yeah, I wonder what might have happened in 2021 that might have led to, I don't know, a front door of a building being damaged. I can't imagine anything in Minneapolis happening that might lead to that.
So I think like if you show that, it's actually pretty crazy to see. And then they move the building and they cut open.
Oh, they must be prop children. Of course, they knew the Google car was coming, and this sophisticated fraud operation placed a couple kids in front of the Quality Learning Center in order to bamboozle us. They're really tricky, those fraudsters.
A door on the backside of the building as well, where they had the Quality Learning Center. One man's been living there since 2017, hasn't seen a single child. And when I go and post my video on X, a lot of people...
You know that thing you do when you live near a child care center and you just look at it all the time, looking for the kids? Oh, wait, you don't do that because you're not a fucking freak? Oh, okay.
were saying, well, Nick, you went during winter break. Well, actually, I went December 16th. School was still in session, so kids should still be going to daycare. The following days after the video then goes viral and gets over 100 million views, they have a person come out and he says, no, we were...
Also, daycares operate during winter break. Like, daycares are around both during, before, during, and after winter break.
We're open. I'm the manager. I'm the son of the owners. We're open. At that
Nick Shirley is proof that you can only fail upwards as a mediocre white man.
same time, simultaneously, the lady who's in charge, the commissioner of children of Minnesota, says the daycare closed a week ago.
Quality Learning Center, which Brown says permanently...
Quality Learning Center. Suspicious. Cars for kids. Totally legit.
Cars for Kids has an infectious jingle, Sake Tanuki. And I should clarify, you can only fail upward as a mediocre conservative white man. There we go. Nailed it.
closed last week.
While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously.
So I filmed my video. Daycare is allegedly open. Then a few days later, the lady says that the daycare was closed while that guy is outside telling people that the daycare is open.
I mean, it seems like that learning center has had a serious history of violations.
Quality Learning Center, yes.
Yeah, going back to 2020.
Yeah, it's literally not a daycare.
But how could they have violations related to childcare if there was no kids there?
Yeah, the way they're operating inside of there, they had the violations. Those people are not able, they were operating fraudulently inside that daycare.
But fraud would mean there's no kids, but the violations relate to like poor safety conditions that put the kids in danger.
And so why would they be operating and why would Minnesota continue to be giving them millions of dollars?
It's the same way a restaurant can get like a not stellar grade from the food inspectors. Like if a restaurant inspector comes and like finds you in violation, they knock your grade down. But they don't, like, unless it's a very severe case, shut your business down. They give you another period of time to rectify those issues. Yeah, sorry. Also, let's be clear, any one of you who's a white man watching me right now, you're not mediocre, okay? You guys are great. He genuinely hasn't thought about the possibility of, like, of course there are children there if they're getting cited for violations involving kids. Like, those inspections are unannounced. Some of them are scheduled, but also some of them are unannounced. So that means, like, an inspector showed up, found violations because there were kids there.
If they're receiving all these violations.
That seems like a really valid question.
Yeah.
Why do you think Minnesota would be giving a daycare center with so many violations so much money?
Well, that same man at Quality Learning Center who was saying that they were open after the commissioner was...
Jack, tell me I'm an awful white man, but a great white woman. You are a terrible white man and a phenomenal white woman.
On the live stream saying they were closed a week ago, was also partying with the mayor of Minneapolis.
Is the manager of the infamous Learning Center in Minneapolis also one of the guys that was dancing in the back of Mayor Jacob Frey's election victory video? The one that went super viral where he thanks his constituents in Somali for re-electing him last month?
Okay, look, there are a lot of very valid reasons to hate Jacob Frey, but like, I don't know, thanking the Somali community for coming out and voting for him is not one of the reasons to hate him.
So you feel like there's kind of like some nonprofit industrial complex type of deal happening?
For sure.
And the agenda is just for people to leech off the government and get free stuff?
81% of the Somali population inside Minnesota is living off welfare. And 89% of the fraud being committed inside.
This is Pulitzer Prize winning journalism, clearly. Oh, shit. Okay, wait. Feeding Our Future fraud case. Approximately 89% of the individuals charged in the massive Feeding Our Future pandemic relief fraud case in Minnesota are reportedly Somali Americans. It's important to note that the 89% figure does not represent the entire Somali population in Minnesota. Oh, fuck. God. He Nick Shirley might genuinely be illiterate. Jack, I think that's Google's AI overview. It is Google's AI overview. But also important to note, I think we saw a snippet of like Andrew Callahan the other night, like correcting the record because Nick Shirley has made a bunch of salty comments about this interview. This is the exact AI overview that Nick Shirley showed him to prove this is where the 89% figure comes from. The 89% fraud figure that he keeps citing throughout this entire interview comes from this, and it's very obvious that he didn't even read the fucking dipshit AI overview of the thing. He didn't even bother.
Minnesota is by the Somalian population.
So what do you think the solution to something like that is?
Go freeze the funding. Each business can then prove if they are legit, and if they can't, cut the funding. And so far, no business has sent any information to the HHS showing that they're legit as of today. They've had 3 days to do it. They haven't been able to prove it. They haven't even tried to make the effort to show that they're a legit business.
Yeah, because maybe like it's kind of bullshit for the government to say, hey, you have to prove you're a legitimate business now, otherwise we're not going to give you any money anymore. Despite the fact that you already proved you're a legitimate business.
It was closed, then it was open, and now we've confirmed it's closed again. That's all after the owners recently rejected allegations of stealing taxpayer money.
Do you trust America and the government specifically to handle our taxpayer funds correctly and properly if they have access to more of them?
No, I don't think any of us should. I mean, just last year alone, over $120 billion were misplaced.
So you have a general distrust in the government?
No, I don't have a distrust necessarily in the government, but do I think we should trust the government 100%? No, it's kind of...
That's called distrust of the government. This man is a stupid fucking moron. Like, I can't. The fact that this interview brought, like, masked agents to my neighborhood where they shot a woman in the face blocks away from my house. And now, like, I'm scared every time my partner goes to work because I don't know if she's going to be coming home again. And it's because of this fucking dipshit, this absolute buffoon, who has, like, the computing capacity of, like, 2 potatoes linked together by copper wire. It's genuinely insane to me. And then, not only is that sufficient to get the largest ICE operation in American history to target my fucking neighborhood, it's apparently enough to convince tens of millions of Republicans because they're just that fucking brain dead. How do people fall for this bullshit? They fall for his bullshit because they never actually bother to watch his video and then like think about it. They never bother to engage in any critical thinking. They're all media illiterate. The media literacy crisis is like at peak levels for conservatives.
Like having faith. Like, do you want to have faith in that God's real? Yes. When we die, will we for certain know exactly where we're going? You kind of walk with faith in a way where you hope that the people that you elect are going to work for your best interest. Do you know for certainty that the best thing is happening inside the country? Every single time you pay taxes, it's going to go to the place that needs it? No. But on that case, do I feel certain that I know where I'm going to go when I die because of my faith? Yes. But does that mean that it's going to actually happen? Who knows until we pass.
That's called not being certain. You absolute fucking diglet.
The other side. So, and then another thing is, we as Americans, how should we feel comfortable knowing that there are daycares receiving millions of dollars while some families are paying upwards of $70,000 a year for their children to be going to daycare?
Did you ever hear about the Amy Bach case?
The white lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy Bach acknowledged the government has proven fraud among meal sites and vendors that she sponsored under Feeding Our Future.
By the way, she's currently trying to cozy up to the Trump administration by saying Tim Walz and Keith Ellison were 100% in on all of it. Trust me, bro. I'm willing to give you all the information if you just give me a pardon, bro. Please, President Trump. I got all the deets. Like that's what she's trying to set up right now. And conservatives are falling for it hook, line, and sinker. That racist who came in the other day was like, Attorney General of Minnesota Keith Ellison is actually in on the fraud. And as evidence, it was like, there's an audio clip of him meeting with the fraudsters. And it's like, them talking to him and him being like, okay, we'll see what we can do about that. And then nothing ever came of it.
But that it was others, not her.
If you look at the probe that began in 2023, as far as like COVID era, scamming and different types of fraud, there's been over like
that's true. I apologize for my ableism against potatoes. It's true. If you link enough potatoes together, they could play Doom. I don't think Nick Shirley's brain is quite capable of that output. One of the only machines, both mechanical and biological, incapable of playing Doom.
60 convictions and millions seized from the fraudsters who took the money away.
Yeah.
But you feel like the state hasn't done enough.
Well, Tim Walz has said they've been stopping to fight fraud since 2019, 2026, and they're still having millions of dollars being stolen, billions.
What are you talking about? They caught the people doing the fraud. Amy Bach is convicted. What are you talking about?
Of dollars.
Breaking political news out of Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz, who of course was the Democratic nominee for vice president in 2024, has ended his re-election bid for governor. This comes as pressure has been growing around this widening welfare fraud scandal.
We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children. So I've decided to step out of this race, and I'll let others worry about the election while I focus on the work that's in front of me for the next year.
I have quite literally saved America millions of dollars. That's why you saw the mainstream media attack me instantaneously after I exposed.
You didn't show or demonstrate any fraud. All you did was say, I couldn't see kids at the daycares that I went to. I, a fucking creepy ass motherfucker, wasn't allowed to leer at children through the windows. So clearly there must be $10 billion in fraud because I don't understand what home health care is. And the daycares wouldn't let me examine the children. Like, guys, do you know how fucking crazy that is? That's like walking up to somebody's home, knocking on their door and saying, "Can I see your children? Are your children home? Can I see them?" And when the homeowner goes like, "No," then you're like, that person's committing fraud against the US government. They say they have kids, but they don't, and they're getting child tax credits. It's fucking lunacy.
$100 million in fraud. Why would they not go?
Well, when you put it that like that, it's even dumber. It's genuinely one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life.
Investigate the fraud. Why would they investigate the person who investigated the fraud?
Where does that $100 million?
Because you didn't expose fraud, and your video is now being used to harm actual people in the actual world.
Figure come from specifically?
Yeah, so you had all the daycares. With the daycares alone, you had millions of dollars in fraud. And then inside of the home healthcare businesses, they were warehouse-style and industrialized buildings.
You know, it's just weaponized confirmation bias. All the people who latched on to Nick Shirley's video are racists, and they were like, good, an excuse to be even more racist. Let's take it. And end of story. That's it. Full stop.
Where you had 14 of the same healthcare companies all working within the building, and they could not even give you a rate. We know how expensive healthcare is.
Yeah, because you call them, you ding-dong. The entire process for a home healthcare company is that you call them to get a quote to send someone to your home to provide you healthcare. You have to then, when you get the quote, you have to give them your insurance, Nick. They bill the insurance companies, Nick.
And they're giving these companies millions of dollars. And the man, David, who's in my video, he's the one who has...
Yes, David, the guy whose career is predicated on advocating that indigenous people should never have been given the right to run casinos in Minnesota, paid on behalf of private gambling corporations that would like to open casinos outside of the reservations. And also, a guy who works directly hand in fist with the Minnesota GOP and posts nonstop about how he hates Somali people and thinks all of them are criminals who do fraud and that they all are demons who worship Satan. You know, David, That David. Totally dependable news source, that David.
Has the statistics and has the numbers on how much these businesses were operating.
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion.
How did you come into contact with David?
He just messaged me on Instagram and he said, Nick, I have the information about the fraud taking place here inside Minnesota. I've been looking into it for years. I have somebody from inside the Capitol who has given me the numbers of CCAP funding. I've been trying for years to expose this fraud. Nobody will listen to me. Please give me a call.
Has he shown you that data?
Yeah, that's what's inside the video. When you see the video and the screenshots of the CCAP funding, that's all straight from the Capitol of Minnesota.
So who is David's source?
David's source, he has somebody inside the Capitol.
And you don't know
and
who it is?
And that's public information as well.
Who is it?
Who is the person's name?
Yeah.
The lady's name, I did not work with her.
He fucking forgot it, didn't he? He fucking forgot it, this goddamn potato.
However, the information that was provided, I can't tell you her name right now, but I could find it on X because... but she's also...
Yeah, just to be clear, here are direct quotes from David Hodge. Every Somali in Minnesota is engaged in fraud. All of them. And then another quote. Even the blacks have had enough of the demon Muslims. It's fucking nuts. This is the guy Nick Shirley got his info from.
So inside the government there, inside Minnesota.
But you like fact checked all that and you looked it all up.
Yeah, David, all those numbers are straight from the Capitol.
So a couple days ago, Minnesota State Representative Lisa DeMuth said that her Republican caucus had been, quote, working with you ahead of your coverage. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I had no idea who she was.
Our caucus has been working to expose fraud for years, including working with Nick Shirley.
Minnesota House GOP leaders say they provided the YouTuber with information in the now viral video.
So you feel like she's just clout chasing?
Yeah, that's what I literally put in the reply in the tweet. Her campaign freaked out when I tweeted that. That's the lady who I was referring to earlier in this interview. Mm-hmm. So her staff was the people that David had received the information from because David reached out, and she works inside the government. So she did actually a good job by doing what she's supposed to do, by serving the people and giving that information.
Yeah, it says that Harry Niska, a Republican representative who's a staffer for her, was the one who gave the intel to David.
Yeah, that probably sounds about right.
Oh, sorry, to elaborate a little bit more from this Intercept piece.
David sounds like a weird American Jordan Peterson.
Hodge ran for Minnesota Attorney General in 2010 as the Resource Party candidate. A sometimes lobbyist on gaming issues, Hodge campaigned largely on a platform of opposing what he alleged was Italian mafia influence in local tribal casinos. Oh, it's so fucking stupid.
But good on her for actually caring about fraud. Fraud's been taking place for years.
And it's really affected the city on that big of a level to the point where people like David are feeling it.
Yeah, because what they knew is Minnesota is not Minnesota anymore.
As far as immigration goes?
Immigration goes, fraud. They just released a new thing where they're giving people 20-week leaves for work leaves, and they've also raised property taxes. Meanwhile, you have billions of dollars, quite frankly, literally billions of dollars over the past few years going to fraud. It's not a hyperbole, it's fact. Government has shown that upwards of $9 billion has gone to fraud. I would vote for anybody but Tim Walz inside that state of Minnesota.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you cleared that up because, it's like the same reason that people lost trust in traditional media is because they felt like there was no barrier between the establishment and, corporate news pundits. And they felt like CNN was an arm of the Democratic Party and then Fox was an arm of the conservative wing. So the fear now that I've thought about before, and I'm not saying this is happening, it will probably take like 5 to 10 years, is that somehow the political powers that be figure out how to use the independent creator economy like on a sleeper cell level to do their bidding for them.
Yeah, that could happen.
Like within.
Oh no, he's too stupid to know that Andrew Callahan's making fun of him. Oh no. He's too dumb to know. He doesn't know. He doesn't realize that he can't do it. No, this is like an episode of The Office. This is like, wait, for those of you who are too young to remember, The Office is an American sitcom based off of a British sitcom that ran for many, many years. It was known for its awkward yet relatable humor. It was very painful to watch. I wasn't paying attention. What happened? Basically, Andrew was like, yeah, you know what I think happened with mainstream media? People started thinking that it was infiltrated and basically controlled by political interests. And, I think it's only a matter of time before, these same political interests take an interest in the, independent creator economy and leverage that to secretly manipulate coverage. and he just fucking nods along and agrees with it. I can't. Oh, is taking sick leave fraud?
Influencer contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah, you saw the DNC do that. All the people that are out talking against me, a lot of them have cut checks from the DNC.
Through like a paid influencer program?
Yeah, and it's public.
Would you?
It's true. That did happen. It's almost like that's happening now. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's almost like that's happening now, isn't it, Nick?
Ever agree to something like that?
No, never.
Hell yeah.
Like, why? I don't need it. I make enough money doing my videos off YouTube, and the people that support me, like, why would I ever turn against their best interest?
And you mentioned that the mainstream media has kind of been...
Why would I ever turn against their interest? It would be a tool for, say, the Republican Party. Why would I ever do that? It's not like I have massively benefited from this, and the reason I'm doing this interview right now is because I have one of the most viewed videos of all time on Twitter, because it was amplified by the vice president and a variety of other political figures and the world's richest man. I'm not going to think about that at all.
Attacking you since this video did its rounds. What are some of the things they've said? Like, what's their main point of attack?
Yeah, if you listen every single time they bring up Nick Shirley on these news sites or the internet or on their TV, they'll say right-wing YouTuber, MAGA YouTuber, conservative. It's never journalist Nick Shirley. It's right-wing journalist.
Yeah, because you're a fucking right-wing shill, man. Because everyone knows. You did a video with a GOP lobbyist with information fed to you by the GOP. Like, come on, man. I can't. Why is everyone calling me conservative? I don't understand. This man gives Dave Rubin a run for his money. Like, fuck. Do you know how stupid you have to be to give Dave Rubin a run for your money? God damn it.
Is labeling the cold water taps in Paris Freud?
I'm Soccer Tanuki, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Real quick, J-Rock, slowly but surely, definitely takes on a different meaning when you spell it that way. Holy shit.
Nick Shirley.
Yeah.
MAGA influencer Nick Shirley.
Yeah. When I interviewed Hunter Biden, they did a RV YouTuber was the one they would use for all like which actually sounds pretty cool. Like, I'd want to be that, but I'm not that. And then like a liberal podcaster, and that in the Atlantic said Gen Z influencer. So
yeah, it's just like they're so mad that we have the opportunity, people like me and you, to upload a video and to get more views than them. Essentially, we're a threat to their entire industry. That's why they hate us. That's why they will never give us credit. And so when they see me doing what I'm doing, when they see me get more views than they will get onto their website for the whole entire year on one single video, yeah, it's going to make a lot of people mad.
So-called evidence comes from a man who has posted anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant content in the past. CNN's Whitney Wild speaks to the man behind that video and takes a look at his claims.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you? This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley.
Yeah, so going back to the first time we met, so what do you remember about that first interaction?
I had just...
You don't just get into CCOT as a random YouTuber? Yeah. Right? Like, you get into CCOT because the authoritarian dictator of El Salvador thinks it's going to be a great PR piece.
Started making YouTube videos again, and I was all by myself. You were going to AmFest, so was I. I was going to interview people about what's happening here inside the country, and I thought I had no idea exactly what I was walking into. I just knew there was going to be a lot of people to interview about what was happening inside the country. I thought it was like called America Fest. So I had no idea what Turning Point was. I had no idea who Charlie Kirk was at that time. It was funny because I'd watched you before on All Gas No Brakes, and you're always in that beige suit, just moving around and doing your videos. And so I was like stoked to see it was great meeting you the first time.
I remember I first saw you, and you were setting up a tripod, and I was like, yo, what should I do? And you told me, you were like, you should go cover the border. And I told you, I was like, I want to go to Nogales to cover it. And you were like, no, you should go to Lukeville.
Yeah.
So you were the one who actually sent me in the right direction to do that.
Yeah, you actually said, hey, can I get that information? I'd love to do something with you. I sent you the information, then ghosted me right after.
Well, now the whole world's going to know that there wouldn't have been a border video without my guy Nick right here.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. Was that, so you said you had just started making videos in 2023, but had you done interviews before that?
Yeah, so I had actually started, I've been doing YouTube since 2017 when I was a sophomore in high school. I started just wanting to have fun with my friends, and I started watching YouTubers, and I saw kind of like the lifestyle they lived, and I was like, oh, I'm fun. I like to have fun. I'm creative. I can be entertaining. I could do YouTube. Like a lot of us.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm one wild and crazy guy.
Think when we were in high school, like how many discussions have you had with your friends where you're just like, bro, that could be us.
You know, most YouTubers wouldn't come in here and capture this because of political stuff. You know what? I don't care. We're out here, baby. Like and subscribe.
Let's go back to the young Nick Shirley. Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I was born here in Utah, spending a lot of time with my family, friends.
Look at him. He's just a wild and crazy guy at the Capitol on January 6th.
And playing football, basketball, soccer, track, you name it. Sports was my entire life when I was younger.
True American life.
Yeah, true American life, going to church, getting decent grades, having fun, hanging out with friends, riding your bike around.
And you said the church, what kind of church?
Yeah, so member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Is that the same thing as Mormons?
Yeah, but we don't call ourselves Mormons now.
Because of South Park?
No, it's just, we're not Mormon. We don't follow Mormon. We follow Jesus Christ. So
It's called the Book of...
We actually want people to refer to us and know us as members of the Church of Jesus Christ.
So Joseph Smith is not a prophet?
No, he's a prophet.
In addition to Jesus?
Jesus is a savior.
Oh, okay.
He's also a prophet, but he's also our savior. He's your savior, he's my savior, he's everyone's savior.
Thank you. So what do you...
Just in case anyone's really confused by that, the belief system of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, their theology is called Mormonism. That's why they're called Mormons. Okay.
Thinks the main thing people get wrong about LDS?
We're Christians. We're just people who love God and love Jesus. And yeah, we do follow higher standards. No drinking, no smoking, no sex before marriage. Go to church on Sunday, follow the 10 Commandments. Follow the Bible. We follow the Bible.
One of your earliest videos that you now deleted was about some of those loopholes.
Oh yes, about soaking.
Have you ever thought about soaking here at BYU?
No. There's a lot of misconceptions on that, and that's not right. Soaking's not right.
Is it real?
Oh, what a principled stance from this upstanding young man. No soaking, guys. That's right. You guys don't go out there and soak. Don't do it. It's not right in the eyes of God. That's right. It is not right to get yourself a BFF and then go on a date. Just you and your hot lady friend and your BFF. And then at the end of the night, you go home. You know, you're getting a little frisky. And then suddenly, when the mood is right, you get a little bit naked, your lady friend gets a little bit naked, and then you put your parts together, and then your BFF comes in to save the day and starts shaking that bed. That's right, folks. That's wrong. In the eyes of God, that's still sex. And no sex before marriage. Do not soak. That's right. God is watching, and he'll still cry when he sees you soaking. What? Yeah, no, that's a thing. That's a thing. Soaking. Not even once. You'll go straight to hell. That looks like a job for holy mackerel. Yeah, branching out. That's right, folks. Don't even think about soaking. If you think of even the phrase soaking wet, you're going to hell. Not even once.
Though.
I interviewed people at BYU, and they might have said it was.
This sounds like a Rick and Morty bit. Unfortunately, soaking is actually a real thing that people inside of the Mormon church do.
So you think it counts?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, of course it counts. You're just making the person who traditionally be in the cuck chair, like, be a little bit more active. That's it.
100%.
Wow, the rumors are true. Kids here at BYU actually do soak.
They soak and they hump.
Definitely.
I think that's like my biggest advantage, that I don't really have many vices, whether it be pornography, whether it be alcohol, whether it be cigarettes, whether it be vapes, whether it be nicotine. That stuff doesn't tempt me.
And you feel like living a clean life that way gives you like a journalistic superpower that allows laser focus so you can just become a content machine?
No.
It's kind of what you're doing.
Well, that's just who I am.
But I mean, I feel like if you drank and partied and stuff, you might not be able to make as many videos.
Well, if I drank and partied, I wouldn't be able to show up to my job at McDonald's.
You'd probably be able to hold down a McDonald's job if you had.
Would I be able? But if you're referring to being,
I thought the Mormon theology was where Joseph Smith cured his AIDS with a magical ***** frog.
Okay, I have to be honest with you, Sake. I don't know enough about Mormon theology to know whether or not that is actually in there. But I hope it is. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. But can we pause for a moment? This man doesn't think he'd be able to make YouTube videos? If he drank alcohol? What? This man doesn't think he'd be able to hold down a McDonald's job if he drank alcohol? Bro! He doesn't have any brain cells to lose. Yeah, he can't spare any. You're right.
That's the
I'm sorry.
mistranslated miscommunication from Book of Mormon.
Thank you, Sake Tanuki, for the correction. I appreciate it. This is so much stupider than I thought it would be. I heard from an ex-Mormon comrade that non-white people are actually white people who were cursed to be non-white or something. Yeah, the book of the Mormon Church had a big problem for a long time with non-white people. It's only in recent years, I think. How long ago was it? Was it like the 1970s when they allowed like black people to even join? Let me just take a look here. Yeah, until 1978, black men weren't allowed to even be weren't allowed to be priests or have any kind of leadership or even like perform any of the like rituals. And also couldn't be inside the temple. And also couldn't get interracially married within the church. So, it wasn't until after the Civil Rights Act. Are they even allowed to drink coffee? No, they are not. Coffee is the devil's temperature. And caffeine, the devil's seed.
On time and all that stuff. And
I'm talking about the sheer volume of content you've been able to produce over the past year.
I'm a highly functioning person.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Aside from the recent stuff, what pieces have you been most proud of?
Look, I know a lot. I know everything I know about Mormonism, okay? Comes from a lady who makes videos on YouTube that are very good, deconstructing her Mormon faith. Oh God, what is her name? Let me just yes, Alyssa Grenfell. I think she's really great. I think she has a lot of insight into the church. If you are curious about Mormonism, check her out. And also, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So, those are my 2 sources. Let's keep going.
Since I last saw you at Turning Point USA.
Wait, no. Wait. Not Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'm sorry, that was a miscommunication on my part. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. There we go. A deeper cut.
I'd say my Brazil videos, those were very awesome. Going to the favelas, that was an experience that I can't even believe favelas are real after going there. Because I came this close to dying in the bottom of a destroyed house on the top of Rio's biggest favela.
When you say close to dying, like there was a gun in your face?
Yes, and if I didn't pay the man, I would have died.
You think so?
100%.
Você dá-lhe uma olhada que você vai ver que aqui não tem trégua.
Oh, whoa, this is heavy.
É, aqui, entendeu? Não há paz.
Sim.
Paz para a polícia, fogo.
That guy, after I interviewed him, he got beat up by the gang leader and kicked out of the favela for letting me interview him.
Some other unknown, or perhaps known by some, Nick Shirley lores that you've met deceased rapper YBC Duel.
Yes, I did meet him. It was Brandon Buckingham.
Yeah.
I had no idea who he was.
A special guest right here.
Oh, we got a special guest too.
Listen,
Talk to us.
this is Nick Shirley from Salt Lake City, Utah. The Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. You ever heard of the Mormons? This is the first Mormon, the first Church of Latter-day Saint member ever to be out here in Philly like this.
Just like that. Just like that.
And he feet on land.
Look at his sneaks though.
Yeah, so that was an equally, I would say, or similarly dangerous
Yeah,
scenario.
no, I'd say the America hoods are about just as dangerous as the favelas. For instance, Chicago, you have armed militias walking around Chicago as well.
Funny Mormon cartoon explaining their religious myth.
Ooh. If it's not too long, I'll take a look. Do. Oh, this is very long, though. We'll watch 1 minute of this.
Regardless of its Christian veneer, the basic tenets of Mormonism are in direct conflict with biblical Christianity. The following piece of animation, based directly on actual Mormon publications, highlights these major doctrinal differences.
Mormonism teaches that trillions of planets scattered throughout the cosmos are ruled by countless gods who once were human like us. They say that long ago on one of these planets, to an unidentified god and one of his goddess wives, a spirit child named Elohim was conceived. This spirit child was later born to human parents who gave him a physical body. Through obedience to Mormon teaching and death and resurrection, he proved himself worthy and was elevated to godhood.
Just listen to the soundtrack from Book of Mormon's original Broadway cast. You'll get enough to understand it.
The Superman kid.
As his father before him. Mormons
I've actually never listened to Book of Mormon before. I should fix that.
Believe that Elohim is their heavenly father and that he lives with his many goddess wives on a planet near a mysterious star called Kola.
Okay. All right. I feel like that's enough. I feel like I don't want to get too sidetracked, but like, oh damn.
Same within Philly. Think about how many young people are dying because of gang violence. Like, I loved your video you did in Baltimore about them kind of combating that and showing that like community really can make a difference and people really need to be looking out for one another because it's not worth dying for. So
yeah, I did know the part about like the Mormon afterlife is basically like a crucible where like based on your actions in life, you attain different levels of like godhood in the afterlife. And like if you live like a pure life, you get to be a god of a planet with a bunch of different like god wives. And then you start your own like process of being like, you know, a god.
Going back to high school, right? So you said that after high school you went on a mission trip, right?
Yeah.
Where to?
Chile, Santiago.
Is that where you developed fluent Spanish?
Yeah, I actually was fluent in Spanish when I was younger. When I was here in Utah, when I was growing up, I was in a Spanish immersion program from kindergarten to 4th grade. Spoke Spanish fluently, moved to Washington. Similar to you, moved up to Seattle area. I didn't practice my Spanish anymore. I lost it. Decided to go on this mission thing for our church. And they sent me to Chile, Santiago, and I learned Spanish again.
If you want god husbands, you are shit out of luck.
What's the purpose of a mission trip?
Yeah, you're there to go share the gospel, the restored gospel of Jesus Christ, and to teach people about Jesus and give them the opportunity to come into Christ, and if they want to follow, or if you just want to teach them about Jesus, that's all you're supposed to do.
At what point did you start to really take political interviewing seriously, and why did you dive into that realm?
Well, I think...
So a multi-level marketing scheme, literally? I mean, yeah, basically. Like, y'all do know, like... Mormonism was started by Joseph Smith after he found like golden discs in a field and then translated them. Like that's the origin story, and his translation was Bible 2.
Battlestar Galactica is heavily inspread by Mormonism. There are tons of Mormon references in it.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
When I started seeing people get trafficked into the United States from the border and started seeing mass corruption with inside the government, I just couldn't believe that. I met somebody at the border, she gives me her WhatsApp, and the next day she texts me and she's in New York City. I was like, how is this happening? How are people just being trafficked around the country? How are little kids just coming over here? How's there a 15-year-old girl, or I think she was 17-year-old girl from Dominican Republic, all by herself? How are people doing this, and how's the government enabling this to happen? I remember going to the border for the first time and I saw migrants coming over the border. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Shouldn't they be running away?
Wasn't Governor Abbott the one transporting people from the Texas border to New York City?
Yes.
So you feel like there was mismanagement of the border on an executive Biden level and a state level?
Yeah. And I think Governor Abbott, that was his way of saying F you to the to the sanctuary cities, and for the Democrats for just accepting and letting this happen, saying, okay, well, we're not going to deal with it. You guys go ahead and deal with it. And we'll give him bus ticket to get out of our state or city.
So you feel like migrants kind of became political pawns for the two parties in America?
Yeah, well, we all know, obviously it was because they wanted to vote. Fill the swing states, fill the big cities. We would have seen what was going to happen, but thankfully Trump won.
How do you think Trump's doing so far this term?
I think Trump's delivering, especially on crises like the border. I think that's been the major win of this election. Right now, you're not seeing illegal migrants come into the country. Me and you both did videos at the Loopfield border. We spoke with migrants. That was the most inhumane thing that I think America's seen in years, as far as letting people be trafficked into the United States and then bringing them into the system, making them rely on the government, not giving them working visas, putting them inside of shelters, busing them all around the country. Families were separated. Thousands of children went missing. The government was literally trafficking children into the United States, trafficking people, incentivizing them to leave their houses in Colombia, leave their house in Ecuador.
That's not the government. They just had better paying jobs here. That's not the government. That's just capitalism.
And then to come to the United States and you're living in a shelter in New York City.
So is it true that gangs are inside of the Roosevelt Hotel?
This is me confronting a group of Venezuelan migrants who are potentially dangerous gang members of the gang Tren de Aragua outside of the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yeah, they're potentially, yeah. They might potentially be gang members.
In New York City.
Most of these migrants, they came here, they thought life would be good, and they end up getting put inside the shelter and became essentially slaves to the system in a way, where they're relying on the state to give them money, they're relying on the state for housing, they're relying on the state to give them a work permit to be able to work. That's not right. That's pretty mean if you ask me.
Well, I suppose the reason they hopped the border in the first place because the immigration system is so backed up, right?
Well, yeah, there's major issues with immigration here inside the United States, but you just can't walk into the country and think that you're going to be treated just like a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen.
Well, you actually can. That's how asylum works. If you're seeking asylum, you can just walk into the country, go to the nearest city or town, and begin the process of applying for asylum. That's literally how it works. It's set up so that people aren't trapped in untenable, dangerous situations.
Who was filming most of your stuff back then?
Me, myself, and then I also bring my mom with me. Definitely. She's like a producer on the channel, kind of.
So they're coming right now because it is an opportunity for them to come, and they are taking that opportunity, and they're coming here. And Nick and I wanted to show, because all of America, we just sit at home and watch this on our TV and get angry with it. And we wanted to show what is truly happening. We have been there.
Did she have any kind of career in content creation prior to?
Man, it's so cool that Nick Shirley is essentially a, I don't know, child star, I don't know, the boy equivalent of a, I don't know, what do they call them? The child pageant, girls. What is there a term for that? Child pageant star, whatever. He's basically that.
You guys working together?
She actually went to school for journalism and to be a broadcast here.
Did she have a hand in your
I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Working together?
She actually went to school.
Oh, she has her own fucking channel where she complains about immigrants. Cool. Yeah, awesome.
For journalism and to be a broadcast here.
Did she have a hand in your decision to really start taking things more seriously as far as political coverage?
No, actually, she didn't really believe in anything I thought politically, but as you
child pageant star, That would probably be the best way to put it.
No, during like 2020, for instance, I couldn't on my
It doesn't seem like you can call like a child a beauty queen. That seems wrong.
channel, I couldn't put Trump's name in a title or a thumbnail without the video being demonetized. And so there was no incentive to actually create political content in that time, especially if you're a smaller creator, because you couldn't get the video to be seen by anybody. And so you couldn't really make those videos. And then when I did get back from that mission, I could then make videos on politics, and the censorship kind of got lifted because of Elon Musk buying X. People hate on Elon Musk, but they don't understand like what he actually did by buying X. Because of him, you're actually able to post stuff on YouTube and not have to worry about being censored or worry about not being able to get the video monetized. Yeah. If you can't get your video monetized, you can't make your videos. And so I think what Elon...
I don't know. I don't monetize this stream, and I'm going on hour 6 of doing this. And you know what? Not monetized, but you guys sure as shit support me. So thank you for allowing me to do this. I very much appreciate it. Like, this is a fascinating journey into this man's mind.
Really did change the shape of our society. Because then you also saw other platforms like Rumble follow, Facebook, they lifted their censorship, YouTube lifted their censorship. So without Elon Musk, none of that would have been possible.
Like, you can still make content if it's demonetized. Like, fuck.
Was there a part of you that was wondering why the Trump administration and various allies promoted your expose so hard when they did?
I think it hit the heart of every American being able to see that their money that they pay for taxes is going to fraud. People like to talk about how our money is going to other countries or how it's being used wrongfully, but people can't actually see it with their eyes.
Twitter
and
was
that
a
was one of the first videos ever where people could see that people were abusing the system and taking dollars from the United States
You did not demonstrate that, buddy.
citizens, and they're actually not operating a business.
But I mean, I'm just talking about if you look at Google Trends specifically, like the phrase Somali fraud was borderline non-existent. It just so happens to really kick up through your piece on December 16th.
Yeah.
Which is the exact same day that the Trump administration and Kash Patel released the redacted Epstein files list that by all people was seen as like a disaster with hundreds of pages of blacked out stuff. Was there a part of you that was curious if maybe there was people in the...
complained so much about how he came across that Andrew had to release receipts.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take a look at that, Sake Tanunki. Don't you worry. I did find that. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. I do think this is clever, and Andrew is basically like, did you ever think that it's weird that on the same day the Epstein files dropped, they instead tried to do their damnedest to make your video go viral? Do you think that's weird at all?
GOP, who chose to signal boost your piece as wide and far as possible in a way to distract and move the goalpost away from that?
I don't know. Like if that was their initiative, it probably worked pretty well. But
I don't know, probably. That seems like a good idea.
I just posted my YouTube video, and that's the beautiful thing about the internet, is you just post and see what happens. Every week I've been uploading video. To me, that was just gonna be like another YouTube upload. Like I didn't know that it was gonna be the most viewed video ever on X. You're trying to say that it was some coordinated attack to get people's eyes away from Epstein, but the majority of the traffic, it has over 600,000, I think it has over 600,000 likes. So it wasn't just Elon Musk who was sharing the video. It was everyday Americans who were showing that video because they're sick.
Hey, what's up guys? Channel 5 Live.
I just want to say, like, yeah, I'm sure some people shared that video organically, but when the owner of Twitter has an algorithm crafted to mainstream whatever he likes, then it doesn't really matter how many people share it, right? Because the algorithm will do what he tells it to do. I just, come on now.
Africans?
No, Somalians.
Well...
Oh, wait.
You'd think it would bother him that his
Hello to sign up.
president
I
used
really
it to
believe in
distract
what Ground News is
himself
doing,
hiding
and I
the
hope...
pedophiles from the public in defiance of the entire legislative branch.
You know, one would think, but I don't think conservatives care about a damn thing. They don't care about a damn thing except hurting their enemies.
But you do too. All right, back to the cabin in the wilderness of Utah where Nick Shirley...
Wait. Also, folks, check out groundnews.com/ ground.news/channel 5 and scan this QR code if you're interested in that. Not sponsored, but like, I don't know, this is a pretty interesting interview, I guess. So check it out. I don't know if we'll make this a segment. Feels a little content steely, but like, damn, this man is dumb, and I'm hooked. I'm fascinated. Goddamn.
Which you can buy for yourself or send as a gift. Either way, it'll come down to less than $5 a month. Just scan the QR code on screen here or click the link below to sign up. I really believe in what Ground News is doing, and I hope that you do too. All right, back to the cabin in the wilderness of Utah where Nick Shirley's hiding out.
Like, what are they known for?
Africans?
No, Somalians.
Didn't you used to be skeptical of Grand News? I am still skeptical of Grand News, but that's the sponsorship that this video has, and I guess, like, if you want to, like, support this video, 1, go watch it and give it a like, and 2, you could, like, obviously respond to the sponsorship message that he embedded into the video.
Well...
Say the thing that's on top of your head.
Captain Phillips.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm also an American who doesn't know any Somalis. Well, actually, I grew up with a few in Seattle, but I'm not like very in tune with the culture.
Yeah, and so why is 89% of the fraud happening inside Minnesota by Somalians? Yeah, and why have apartment complexes and locations inside of Minnesota, white people have been pushed out?
White people?
Don't use Grand News. The comments are always super transphobic. Yeah, I don't use I don't, and I'm not going to.
Yes. Inside these apartment complexes, you will not find a white person living inside of Cedar Riverside, for instance.
Where'd they go?
They got put.
Gee whiz, I wonder why. I wonder why people of color might be economically marginalized. I wonder why that could be, historically. And why that might lead them to seek out places where the rent is much lower. It's a true mystery.
Pushed out.
Like to low-income areas?
They got pushed out of, I don't know where they went, but they're not.
I can tell you that the white people who used to live in Cedar Riverside area, they went to the goddamn suburbs. Like...
There, Cedar Riverside was originally housing for the College of Minnesota. There's a bar there called Palmer's Bar. It used to be...
Hey, fun fact. I went to college over there. I literally, when I was in college, lived on that side of the river. I was a handful of blocks away from this area. I'm fairly familiar with it, actually. And, like, it's fine. You can walk down the street and get great food. It's fine.
A staple for Minnesota. However, the Somalians inside of Cedar Riverside made complaints that Palmer's Bar was too loud. They literally changed their state flag to be more like the Somalian state flag.
It looks completely fucking different, you piece of shit. God, look up again, in the video that I did on Nick Shirley's initial expose, we looked at a list of flags that actually look very similar to each other, and the Minnesota flag and the Somalian flag are not on that.
Flag in Minnesota. Tim Watts said their other flag was racist, and he called...
Yeah, the other flag was racist because it included a Native American attacking a settler.
People like me, white supremacist, for talking out against the fraud that's happening inside of his state.
When I think of Somalis, I think that Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago, and this.
He's been talking about fraud since 2019.
How do you feel about the way the, I guess, liberal side of the mainstream media has characterized the reporting?
They're defending fraud. I'm showing people what's happening. I showed it exactly how it is, as it is.
I would really like someone to ask Nick Shirley what he thinks fraud is, and what you would need to demonstrate in order to prove fraud.
And now they're defending fraud. Even if one of these businesses is operating, why should any American be happy or be satisfied with daycares ran by all Somalians receiving millions of dollars?
Run by all Somalians really seems like it gives the game away, doesn't it?
The population of Minnesota, I believe it's around 5.8 million. You have not seen one single Minnesotan say that they're...
Reeves Underground, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships over on YouTube. Folks, YouTube's absolutely killing it today, by the way. You guys are just absolutely doing incredible. Thank you so much.
child was inside those daycares.
I've seen a couple interviews with people who are saying their child was in the daycare.
Who are they?
Somalis.
Yes. Why isn't any other white people, black people, Mexicans, Asians, why aren't they saying, oh, these aren't fraudulent daycares?
Wasn't it a predominantly Somali area?
Why are...
Wait, I'm saying it's not, they aren't fraudulent daycares. I live in the area around some of them. Like, they have kids there.
All the daycares inside of Minneapolis, there's white people, there's Mexicans, there's Asians, there's everybody inside Minnesota. In Minneapolis, how come no other person has said, no, this daycare is legit, here's my child? I don't support our money going overseas to Israel either. I don't support our...
Why would they need to produce their child, Nick? What? Like, what? Why aren't any of these people arbitrarily showing me their children? Like, remember earlier when I was like, you know, this would be like going to someone's house and demanding to see their children, and if they don't produce their kids, you then allege that they're part of a fraud scheme? Uh-oh, he genuinely did the bit. He genuinely did the bit.
Money funding Ukraine, but what I can actually see with my own eyes is the money coming here inside the United States that's being spent fraudulently. People don't understand that.
What do you think's the biggest thing you risk doing this type of work?
People have doxed me, there's death threats. I have 24/7 security right now because of how crazy people are mad at me for exposing fraud.
What are some of these death threats? Like, what do they say?
One person sent me a photo. You can grab it from my ex and put it on the screen. He said, this is going to be you on April 27th on the side of a highway. And it was a photo of a man with his head decapitated in a trench. Another person openly said, tick-tock, tick-tock, Shirley's time's coming. Why are Democrats calling me?
Well, I mean, tick-tock, tick-tock, Nick Shirley's time is coming. That doesn't really sound like a death threat. That kind of, if anything, my brain goes to, like, Me Too. Like, it goes to the Me Too movement, because that TikTok was, like, a thing that was associated. Like, TikTok time's up. And also, like, that makes sense to me, because you're going around asking to see children at daycares, and it seems like that's really sus as hell.
Me, a white supremacist, for talking against fraud. I have 24/7 security with me right now.
Yeah, he's genuinely doing the Blues Brothers bit, exactly.
Because people think me exposing fraud is bad.
And was that something that has kind of like deepened your perception of...
If you actually demonstrated that there was fraud, that'd be good, but you didn't do that, bro.
The left as being like super crazy and messed up.
Yeah, I just think everything they say they're...
It just makes me think that the person was suggesting he change platforms to TikTok.
TikTok would be better engagement. You're right. You're right. So true. Sake, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Oh, God.
The party of peace, party of acceptance. Meanwhile, they call people like me fascists and Nazis. Yeah, they call me a fascist. Meanwhile, they won't let me speak. One lady...
They won't let me speak, says man who claims to have the most watched video on the internet outside of Mr. Beast. They've silenced me, says man who's opening up this interview by claiming to have made the most widely viewed video of all time outside of a Mr. Beast video. Okay, yeah, I'm being silenced, says guy whose video is being pushed out by the literal United States government. I cannot, man. They won't let me speak, says man in the middle of a goddamn interview.
She came up to me, she took her shirt off, started jumping all over me, and she said, say Black Lives Matter. Say Black Lives Matter. I said, all lives matter. She said, get out of here, white boy. Like, what they're saying does not make sense.
Black lives matter. My life matters too.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I think it was probably, it hits a little different now than it did back in the middle of 2020.
But even then, all lives matter.
Yeah.
That should not be a hot take.
Yeah, but...
Isn't it, was that Crackhead Barney? I'm not super familiar. But that sounds like something Crackhead Barney would do. Was that, yeah, I also wanted to know. Okay, I wasn't the only one with that idea. I said that before I looked at chat.
The conversation of 20.
No, it doesn't.
White boy, like their shirt off, started jumping all over me, and she said,
I don't know if that's... Wait, let's just take a look real quick.
Zorhan, you're not the biggest fucking influencer in the city. What do you think about me storming the mayoral forums? Are you mad? Are you mad at me?
I'm not mad.
What do you think about it? You think I'm clout chasing? You think I'm annoying? What do you think? Come on, give me a real answer.
I think that's crackhead Marty.
Because I did not know who you were.
And now you know who I am.
And now I expect you at the forums.
Okay, good. And what are your other candidates saying? Are they hating me?
I think they also expect you at this point.
Oh, great. So Zorhan, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck? Because you just came out of nowhere, and I'm like, who is this guy? Who the fuck are you?
So I'm a state assembly member.
Okay. Okay.
I was elected in 2020, took office in 2021.
Okay.
And right now I am running on a platform to make New York City more affordable.
Okay, Jordan, what are you gonna do for black people? What are you gonna do for the niggas?
What we're seeing...
Black trannies, people like me, annoying in their underwear, what are you gonna do?
Look, every single person in this city deserves to afford to call this city their home. And
Okay.
what we've seen in a crisis of inequality...
People like me who are
where
annoying
1
in their
4
underwear.
New Yorkers are in poverty, where 500,000 children are going to bed hungry, is that there's a disproportionate impact on black New Yorkers. From 2010 to 2019, we saw nearly 20% decline in the population of black children and teenagers, and that's because of how expensive we made this city. We are losing the fabric of what we love about this city. And we need to make sure that for black New Yorkers who want to raise their kids here, this is the most affordable and easiest place to do so, because right now, that's not the case.
Okay, Jordan, would you fuck me?
No.
Are you married?
Yes.
Who are you married to? A white woman, Latina, Arab?
She's Arab.
And what are you? Are you Arab, Indian? What are you? You look ambiguous. You look weird. You look weird. What the fuck are you?
I'm an Indian, Ugandan, New Yorker.
Okay, so you're African American. So would you claim the African American status like Elon Musk?
No, I would not.
Why not? You're African, but you're African, right? I knew you grew up there. Your middle name is Kwame.
I am. I'm proud to be Ugandan. But, but I think that is misleading.
And were the Indian Ugandans colonialists, or did you come happy? Did you come to fuck shit up, or did you come in peace?
We came in peace.
And I know your father's a professor.
My father's a professor. My family came from Gujarat to Uganda about 200 years ago.
So the caste system, what are you? Like Brahmin? Are you like are you like untouchable? What are you? You look a little light skinned.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay, so you're a piece of shit. And where are you educated? Where are you from? Do you have a B? Like why should we tell us why the fuck should we vote for you? Because when I saw you, I'm like, fuck this dude.
Look, I appreciate that. That's how many New Yorkers feel about politics in general, because they've been left behind.
And I see you're raising money. You raised $8 million. You told everybody stop.
Don't send us more money.
How about me? How can I be like you? Because I think when I saw you running, I was like, I should be running. Because who the fuck are you?
Well, we're going to almost the same number of forums, so you kind of are running.
Exactly. You're like, who the fuck are you? Where are you going?
Oh my god. Yeah, she just like shows up everywhere in New York City, and she plays a character that is just absolutely fucking insane. Who, why, what? Just also watching Zoran Mamdani respond to that like a goddamn champion, like he's truly the strongest politician to ever run. Yeah, of course it's an act, but also like a lot of people don't know it's an act, you know? Like they're just like, what the fuck? And Nick Shirley didn't realize he was being clowned on.
I say Black Lives Matter. Say Black Lives Matter. I said all lives matter. She said, get out of here, white boy. Like, what they're saying does not make sense.
Black Lives Matter. My life matters too.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I think it was probably, it hits a little different now than it did back in the middle of 2020.
But even then, all lives matter.
Yeah.
That should not be a hot take.
Yeah, but the conversation was specifically about like police brutality in black communities.
Okay, cool. All lives matter still. I just can't fathom how people can side with people who have gone so far left to the point where they call people like me a fascist or Nazi, or they think the take all lives matter.
Is he dumb or disingenuous? You decide. You know, I'm leaning towards one of those for sure.
Controversial, or they think that when somebody gets deported when they've been here illegally is a controversial take.
It's going to CCOP. How did you end up down there?
Yeah, so on the topic of immigration, I was doing these videos and I was seeing these cartels.
Truly, to call him disingenuous would be to grant that he is capable of operating on two levels at once. And I don't know that he can do that.
These caravans come through. I was like, well, I'm going to join one of I'm going to join a caravan. Like, I'm going to join in their journey. So I was looking at the map and I thought El Salvador would be like a perfect section point to go join a caravan.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy idea to go join a caravan.
No, it's a sick idea.
At that point in time, I wanted to see what's happening with the immigration. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go to El Salvador. I'm going to go speak to people. I'm going to find a caravan. And I'm going to go from El Salvador to Mexico and make it all the way to the United States. I get to El Salvador and they're like, no, we don't have any migrants here. We just actually put all of our gangs in the prison. Like, we're thriving. I had to change
God, I have covered this video that Nick Shirley put out, and it like, he's such a massive piece of shit in it. Like, not only is he like, oh yeah, well, the government of El Salvador said that no one is trying to be a migrant out of this country, and I was like, oh boy, howdy, gee whiz, mister, how do you do that? And they're like, we'll let you into our prison facilities and you can make a video about it. How about that? Oh man, thanks, mister. I'd love to make a video about how you torture people. It's really cool. And so he gets granted access to CCOT, right? He literally gushes over the solitary confinement torture chamber that he is granted access to in there, you know? And the same chamber in which multiple folks who managed to get out of CCOT have talked about being like sexually assaulted and tortured inside. And on top of that, there's also a section.
If anyone wonders what BDE is, Zoran is the best example I've seen in a politician.
True, sorry, you're blue. True. Thank you for the $5 super chat. But he also then goes to another prison facility where they just employ prisoners as slave laborers. And he talks extensively for like an hour about how cool and innovative it is to force inmates to work. Like, he genuinely is just gushing about how cool it is that El Salvador has a prison slave labor as a matter of course.
If I plan to make a video about how one country actually solved migration to the point where they're actually having people come back to their country versus leaving.
And you finally got up in there.
Yeah, I'm still the only American to ever go in, and you actually asked for the contact, but I couldn't give it to you.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking about, man, is like, on that note, how do you think I could like build more credibility on like the more conservative side of the aisle as far as interviews go?
Don't be afraid to say, what are Somalians known for? When you know the answer inside your head, but you're too afraid to say it.
Well, I just don't know if it's based on a stereotype or if it's
not. You know what they're known for. You said it.
What,
Pirates. I mean, so you're scared.
I'm not scared. I just want to I'd have to go and talk to them. I'm not scared. I don't want to go out and say things about people if I don't know the community. I gotta go to the restaurants.
But I asked you the question, what are they known for? And I knew you knew what they were.
Because Hollywood promoted Captain Phillips. I mean, what are we known for in Somalia? I don't know. Cheeseburgers?
So why'd you question your thought?
I'm not that smart.
So why did you question yourself? Why you did this thing right then? I think people call it critical thinking. Why are you critically thinking? When a reactor goes critical, that's really bad. So you should never critically think, because that could also be really bad, like a reactor. I lost all of my friends in a freak gasoline fight accident. My name is Nick Shirley.
You're asking how do you gain credibility and trust? Well, you say a fact for a fact.
And the fact is that the first thing I think of when I think of Somalia is
And the fact is, what are Somalians known for? Pirating.
Yeah, why didn't you mindlessly engage in stereotyping?
Well, that's in Somalia. There's no pirates.
That which is adequately explained by stupidity. Hanlon's razor.
True, though I do think that, for the Trump administration in particular, I am leaning more towards malice than stupidity for many of them.
It's in America.
Who's stealing all the money in Minnesota?
Not the same as a pirate.
That is piracy. So how do you gain more trust? Well, don't be afraid to say a fact.
I use many words when few do trick.
Or opinion.
Even if I know that I'm dumb.
Yes. By not saying anything about the death of Charlie Kirk as well, I thought that was pretty messed up. In a way, he's somebody just like me and you who was making videos, putting it on the internet, and then people literally killed him. I thought that was kind of messed up of you to not publicly denounce what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I did.
I never saw anything on Instagram.
What am I supposed to say?
You never shared anything.
I interviewed the guy who was debating him while it happened. And I mentioned a bunch of times that it was horrible and it represented like one of the worst pivots in American politics ever.
And I didn't even watch the interview because I didn't want to watch that.
Well, you should watch it.
I don't want to.
Why? It's historically relevant.
It might make me question myself in ways that I'm not comfortable with. But also, I lack the awareness to even be able to articulate that.
It is historically relevant. I did lose respect for you when it felt like you went silent.
Well, you should watch the video because I say some stuff in it.
Okay, cool.
Do you ever see a world in which independent media.
If I watched that, I'd be forced to maybe confront some of my internalized biases. And that sounds uncomfortable and painful.
Yeah, will overtake corporate traditional media.
Well, we still have boomers and they're still watching TV. So that like is a lot of their audience. But when me and you are 50, 60 years old, do I think that CNN and those companies will be able to operate at the scale that they're operating right now? I think CNN...
Wait, why does he have to? Because it's good to, like, question your own biases to see if maybe you have flawed thinking.
Has around...
You know, so you could correct that.
I know they have more than 1,000 employees, and it took one person to expose $110 million in fraud in Minnesota. And then when he...
Except you didn't do that, did you? You didn't actually do that.
Does expose it, they investigate the person who exposed the fraud versus investigating...
You didn't expose fraud, man. You showed up to a bunch of daycares and demanded to see children, and then the daycares rightfully didn't let you in and told you to fuck off. That's not exposing fraud. That's being, like, rightfully denied entry to a daycare. Because they don't just let random strangers in off the street to look at the kids. That's weird.
Fraud taking place, nobody has trust in them. Their trust is at all-time low because people like me are able to go and talk to the liberal woman calling me an ICE agent outside the daycare, and also talking to the man who's lived there for 8 years who's...
She was calling you an ICE agent because you showed up with like 6 dudes in ski masks. You know, the same thing that ICE agents are doing here right now.
Never seen a child. It's impossible for them to do that.
So you think once boomers go?
Yeah, I think once boomers go and once...
We are...
What about the health clinics? Home health clinics don't provide health care at their offices. That'd be like showing up to your insurance company's office and being like, well, clearly they're doing fraud because none of these offices have any doctors in them. They're just doing paperwork and like answering emails. What's up with that? I don't understand. These health insurance companies aren't providing any health. Like, that's how stupid it is. Home healthcare companies dispatch a nurse to someone's house to do the healthcare. People don't come in off the street to the office building to get the healthcare. They call it. That's how that works. You call them and schedule an appointment, then they dispatch you a nurse. God, like, and then he doesn't know that because he never bothered to figure out what home healthcare actually is. And instead was like, there's a lot of these healthcare companies in this building, and yet no one's here getting healthcare. Like, it is one of the dumbest videos I've ever seen in my life. And I do apologize, Super Shot, if I come across as a little bit abrasive, but I live in Minneapolis, and this guy's stupid-ass fucking video brought down the largest ICE operation in U.S. history to my town. And blocks away from my house, a woman got shot in the face by the ICE agents Nick Shirley brought here with his stupid-ass video. And millions of people watched that video and didn't even bother to have a second thought about it, to think about, what is home health care? Hey, why would a daycare not want to show children to a random stranger with a bunch of masked men standing behind him? And, like, seems pretty obvious to me for a number of different reasons, but like, I'm a little upset about it.
My grandparents aren't here anymore.
Which we don't want to happen, but it has to happen.
Well, it's just a part of life that people will die.
Yeah.
But at that point, I think mainstream media will not really be a thing.
So what can we do to avoid the mistakes that mainstream media made in the past? Because at one point they were quite trusted.
Yeah, at one point they were quite trusted. But actually, were they? Do we know that the history books are correct when only the victors write the history? And at that time, they didn't have social media to combat with the information at that time.
I'm just talking about like Walter Cronkite, like when there was like 2 stations and like, you know, there wasn't such a divisive news media corporate competition taking place to where people were competing for views by using pundits and having a 24-hour news cycle. Like when the written word also meant more as well. There was more faith.
Well, I can't speak on that because I wasn't living that generation where you had get on
You
your
could even
TV.
go back. I mean, honestly, the 24-hour news cycle, if you talk to older people like in their 30s and 40s, post 9/11 was pretty much the first time where cable networks had to keep their airways on all the time. So they started filling slots with not correspondents and not field pieces, but just pundits. So what they would do is they would get two people who fundamentally disagree and just have them yell at each other for like 2 hours to drive up engagement and keep people watching. So news kind of became like soap opera.
Shoot bang, that this man can't read. like you're telling him to read a book, he can't read.
Everything kind of became about engagement, like almost like reality TV, and then gradually trust faded because it became so partisan.
Yeah, Konami in the Alpha feels real fucking bad. Feels real fucking bad living this close to Ice Ground Zero.
Yeah, I think it's also a sign of the times that we're seeing distrust and we're seeing the world get a little bit crazier as well.
So, I mean, what do you think we need to avoid?
What do we need to avoid? I think we need to call things out for facts. And you shouldn't be afraid to say, when I ask you, what are Somalians known for? You're afraid of your viewers watching this video calling you a racist or Islamophobe.
No, to clarify.
You knew that word, Andrew. You knew you were saying pirate. You knew in your mind.
Well,
you're
asking me to think in a stereotypical mind, what do I think comes, what's the first stereotype?
To say it, though.
You're asking me what's the first stereotype that comes to mind when I think about Somalia?
I said, what are they known for?
They are known by Americans who don't know Somalis.
And what are they known across the West for?
Well, the West is very much indoctrinated by Hollywood. I'm just saying, I want to wait to answer that before I actually have engaged with the community on a level to where I can actually...
Dudes in chat, I would really appreciate it if you stopped trying to like find different ways to like call him like the R word. Like you can just say he's really stupid. You can just say they made Jimmy Carter sell his peanut farm, and I guess all the excess peanuts got stuck inside of Nick Shirley's cranial cavity. Like, we all got to be a little bit more clever, all right? All he's got is peanuts.
They say like they're known for this type of thing.
Well, when they're committing 89% of the fraud in Minnesota.
But that wasn't the question. You asked me, hey, what are Somalis known for? And of course, I'm thinking of the movie because it's a Tom Hanks Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah, but it's a fact that they're committing some sort of piracy in Minnesota. 89% of the fraud is committed by Somalis, and that's a fact. When we talk about building trust in the future of media, we need to be able to say things for what they are. If Tim Waltz goes on TV and calls...
This man literally doesn't know that Tim Walz's name is Walls. He keeps saying Waltz, like Christoph Waltz. Like what? Man, he's been talking about this for weeks.
Call people like me a white supremacist. It's my responsibility.
White supremacist. What do you... Okay.
Ability to call Tim Waltz. He's enabled this to happen because he's afraid to be called a racist or an Islamophobe. Meanwhile, our generation can't even buy a home. Meanwhile, people are stealing millions of dollars. And he's afraid to say that because he's too afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe.
I think the one main issue that I feel like unites the left and the right, at least in a certain income bracket in the U.S., would be affordability.
Yes, 100%.
I think it's probably the main issue that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Deep down, I think that the main difference here is diagnosing how we can get to that point. You know, because when you're talking about your issue with fraud, you mentioned healthcare being expensive.
Yeah.
So we're all talking about the same thing here. It's just, I think the main difference is how are we going to get there?
And then when we have someone like Elon Musk, the smartest man in the world, who offers his help to...
Of course, this buffoon thinks that Elon Musk is the smartest man in the world. Guys, I think I might be done. I think this is it. I think this is as far as we could go here. I think I just took some actual for real mental damage from that. It made it through my defenses. It hit my thermal exhaust port. It's caused a chain reaction. It's only a matter of seconds until I explode. No. God damn it. Oh, fuck. All right. Someone said I needed to watch like the last handful of minutes on this one, so I'll honor that. But we're skipping like the next 20 minutes. I can't do more of this. All right. If you want to watch the rest of it, you'll have to watch it on your own, like an honest viewer of YouTube.
Down on fraud is bad. The word is fraud. If you think cracking down on the word corruption's wrong, the word's corruption. If you think a girl should be able to play, or a boy should be able to play in a female sport, it's a girl or it's a boy playing against girls. What society?
This guy can't even do transphobia right because he's too stupid. No, you can't. God, the shots are fired, but they missed me somehow. Fuck.
The benefits have come from the left.
We haven't had a sizable leftist political party in America in American history.
You had Joe Biden.
Liberals. Centrist liberals defending elite interests.
And you had Obama.
Centrist liberal defending elite interests.
So who are you going to support? You need to support somebody.
You're telling me that if you can point me in the right direction of a guy, but I don't see...
Stuff's happening right now. People can't afford houses right now. And then you're talking about
who am I going to vote
people
for?
Moving out of California.
No, I support.
You're talking about programs.
I support.
That's the reason why it's so. California's one of the most expensive states in America.
I support voting on a local level, especially. I think that's probably the most important thing you can do. So I support voting on a local level for sure.
And if we want to create change nationally, if you have to support somebody, you have to choose.
Now we have to choose.
So if you have to choose between the Democrats and Republicans.
Well, you just said yourself that the corporate media machine is on the verge of collapse. What makes you think the two-party electoral system is going to last any longer?
Quite frankly, it'll be impossible for an independent group at this point in time. I think in 50 years when the boomers are gone, mainstream media will die. But as of right now, they're still going to thrive. And right now, in this moment of time, we have to choose who's going to create the most innovation and change and make America a more prosperous country.
But I don't think he has a speech disability. I think he's just, slower than dial-up internet.
Trump can't even release the Epstein files.
He has released them, and he did react, and that's his Achilles heel, is this Epstein file thing.
Yeah.
So we can't do anything about that, but what we can.
I agree. People shouldn't be put down for disabilities. That's not why I'm putting him down. I'm putting him down because he is dumb as hell.
Can do is talk about fraud. We can talk about homelessness. We can talk about all of our money going to, we can talk about going back to fraud, about 7% of our taxes going to fraud. We can talk about how $24 billion went missing for homelessness in California and how they're incentivized to keep people homeless so they can continue receiving money from the state.
Yeah, that's all true.
Right? So we can...
Man, Nick Shirley is really gonna, he's 24 years old, 23? Can you imagine this man in his 30s? Oh, God, he's gonna be barely functional. It's crazy. I don't know how, if he's still in the media, the equivalent I would conjure up in my mind here is James O'Keefe. But James O'Keefe was a dishonest liar piece of shit. But he had style to him, and just real quick.
No one ever says those things out loud, but it's obvious.
Yourself.
It leads. If it leads, it leads. I think that's propaganda.
Twitter permanently suspended his account after he exposed hypocrisy and fraud at CNN.
Project Veritas, a very controversial conservative group,
promoting misinformation.
The Times reported that the footage from Project Veritas was part of
according to Stanford researchers, a coordinated disinformation campaign.
They sued the New York Times for defamation. Project Veritas just won a major victory in that case.
Come to you and offer you $100 million. You're not going to settle?
So I would tell them to go to hell.
I just can't believe that my face is on TV.
Anyway, this is James O'Keefe. He got famous for dressing up like a Halloween pimp and framing a government institution for fraud. And then he used that fame to stage his own musicals. And again, continue to lie about abortion clinics and whatnot. But James O'Keefe had style and charisma and had a number of other problems in his life. I cannot imagine Nick Shirley managing to keep a media career at 30 plus years old doing this. Are the musicals at least entertaining? No! He started his own production of Oklahoma. And it didn't make him money. He just burned the money he got from all of his allegations of fraud. God.
Actually do stuff that creates change. We can't tell Trump to go release the Epstein files. And it's just because you support Trump doesn't mean you support everything he does. But he's the man in office right now, and you do need to think who's going to be able to create the change and how.
The issue is James O'Keefe knew he was full of shit and did it anyway because he's evil, you know? Whereas Nick Shirley is just dumb as a box of rocks. And like, I don't think that allows him to really grow and adapt as a person. Like, this shtick is gonna age very poorly coming out of the mouth of someone who is like 35 versus someone who's 23.
Are we supposed to be able to do it?
Well, he's in office.
Stealing Oklahoma, thank you.
So I'm saying now is the chance to prove to people like me and like other people that positive change can happen. And if he does, it's Team Trump
I would
forever.
say he's trying to,
Yeah.
but you're seeing what happens when he says he wants to go deport illegal migrants, leftist judge block his orders, or when he wants to deploy the National Guard to Chicago to
All of those evil leftist judges blocking his unconstitutional orders. What do they know, those stupid judges? Huh. We all know the president should just be able to deport whoever he wants.
make it a safer place. Democrats weaponize it. Like, do you agree that Chicago's a safe place? Would you agree the west side or south side of Chicago is a safe place?
I think that the west side and the south side are not safe places. However, I'm not sure how deploying the National Guard to that particular ICE facility out west is going to change the situations in O Block or somewhere like that.
Okay, so take a look at Memphis, for instance. They allowed the National Guard to go in there. Or if you take a look at Washington, D.C., they allowed the National Guard to go in there, and crime significantly went down. In 2025, murders are the lowest they've been in years.
Well, they've been declining steadily since '94.
It's the lowest they've been in years.
One thing I want to push back on, too, is the conservative narrative that America was at its most dangerous point before Trump started cracking down. If you look at a graph, homicides have been trending downward since the mid to late 90s for a long time. We're actually in the safest time. Every single year gets more safe than the last. And of course, there are certain cities like St. Louis, Baltimore, Memphis that will always have some degree of violence, but things are not that bad in the U.S. as far as gun violence goes. They're really getting a lot better. So if things continue, I think that we'll gradually be able to root out the problem.
If you look at the graph, it's an exponential drop in violence here in the United States.
I wouldn't say exponential. I mean, I think that
it's a pretty
if you look
large
at the video we did about Baltimore, they were able to cut homicides in half, and Trump.
Background.
Sorry, you're blue. Thank you for your input on the classic bear or man conundrum, and thank you for the $5 super chat.
Didn't send anybody there. They did it all, inside the community.
Yeah, it's amazing. Cheers for Baltimore for doing that. Maybe if places in Chicago took that same initiative, it would happen, but they're not. So therefore, we have to trust the people in office who have the power to actually go make a change and to send a National Guard and to actually use them to make that place a safer place.
So what would they do in a place like South Chicago where you have like 50 blocks that are in food deserts with no health care?
If you had a National Guard man patrolling the streets, do you think young gangsters would feel emboldened to go and steal from the gas station?
Yeah.
Like, we have the military, we have them, we have law enforcement, we have laws.
We have the military.
People haven't always been walking around in shiesties and shooting people up.
They've always been shooting people. The shiesties came from Pooh Shiesty, who, by the way, is free now, and he's back in Memphis, so the homicides might be going up.
They're actually going down because the National Guard was there in Memphis.
Well, I heard his song, and he said the war's back on, whatever, but that's probably not reflective of the data.
So, like, everything we're talking about, like, they're trying.
How does patrolling solve food deserts? It doesn't.
To make a difference here in the United States, and we should also be trying to create change with our platforms and with our journalism. What I just did is I exposed fraud, and within I think it was the next day, they freeze funding for childcare in Minnesota until a business can prove their.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. It's so awesome how you, like, even if you think that this is that this is the case, how on earth do you think it's cool that now, tens of thousands, if not tens of thousands of families are now struggling to get childcare because the federal government froze funds to said daycare facilities. Like, they froze funds to the entire state. Is that cool? Is it cool when the federal government suddenly cuts off everyone who relies on federal aid for Medicaid? Is that awesome? That's just so cool. You're so powerful that you were able to get assistance cut off to tens of thousands of families who need it to, like, I don't know, get their kids treated for illnesses, have their kids watched so they can go to work so that they can afford rent and food. Okay.
Legit. And all they have to do is prove they're legit. But no business has been able to send them proof of legitimacy inside of Minnesota. What does that tell you?
But you mentioned the ABC Learning Center in particular.
Yes.
And I mentioned that they did, I'm not sure if this is real or not, but they did release footage of kids entering and exiting the building during operating hours on the same day that you guys were there.
And their capacity is for 40
Shouldn't the government do a, like, actual investigation before just freezing funding without warning? One would imagine, right?
children. In that video, there was 12 children, and that place receives $1 million.
But you do admit there was kids.
Yes, and I don't doubt that there are kids inside of some of these daycares. It'd be very stupid of a business to receiving millions of dollars and not to show face with a few kids. It'd be very stupid.
Do you see also how some...
So they have a few kids on set just in case they need to pretend to be, like, there for daycare purposes? Just some of the daycares have a handful of kids in there, just in case the inspectors come.
Some people could say that you pull up with a couple dudes and cameras and they would get suspicious and not want to let you guys inside.
I can understand that, but they should be able to say, and when I ask the question, how do I enroll my son, little Joe, into daycare?
Well, there's probably not that many Somali kids named Joey in Minneapolis.
But also, if you were interested in enrolling your kid in daycare, you would call them. Typically, you don't just show up with a camera crew to ask that question. Like, I think maybe the people who are working at these daycares and whose job it is to keep those children safe might think to themselves, this guy with a camera crew seems really suspicious. I'm not going to let him in.
Okay, so then why is only it for Joey? Why is it only for Somalians inside these daycares? Where's the white little kids inside these daycares?
It's not only for Somali people. It's just that the daycares you went to are built and run near places where a lot of Somali folk live and work. People tend to leave their kids at the daycare that's closest to them because it's convenient.
Maybe they don't go to like federally funded daycares. They get probably taken by their white parents to.
So who's being robbed?
I suppose in this premise, the taxpayer.
Yes, the hardworking taxpayer, while Somalians are taking and committing 89% of the fraud in Minnesota.
Have you ever personally been defrauded?
I have.
What happened?
I gave a man money, thinking that he was going to give me
I gave a man money
back on a loan, and he never did.
Did you try to pursue any judicial means to get accountability for that?
In the process right now.
Wow, that would be a crazy full circle moment. Don't you see this as potentially being a story that really evolves into a probe of the Democratic establishment in Minnesota and how they're kind of sloppily just allocating all these different federal and state funds as opposed to specifically highlighting the Somali community? Or do you see it as both?
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians.
Where exactly is that statistic from?
You can pull it up on the screen. You'll find it.
I just want to know where it's from.
You want me to find it right now?
For sure, just so I can, I don't know, I believe you. I just want to make sure we have the exact.
Here, right here. Yeah, and it's not racist to say it.
Probably.
And when I go to the daycares, there's not a single white person running any of these daycares. Not a single white woman opened up the door.
It's kind of how, like, a lot of people in New York City who have, like, a nanny come, a lot of the nannies are not white. Because childcare is one of those jobs that you can get relatively easily as, like, a language as a second person individual or someone who's newly come and immigrated into America. It's an easy access job, relatively. Is Nick Shirley AI? He certainly talks like it, right? So, like, because of socioeconomic factors, certain groups of people are more prone to be in certain types of jobs. You know, like, if you are poor, you're not as likely to get one of those CEO jobs at a Fortune 500 company. You know, like, that's typically not accessible to you if you are poor, right? Wait, did I say language as a second person? Fuck me. It's infectious. Oh God, kill me before it reaches my neocortex.
A lot of them could barely even speak English. Yet, then you also have another issue with it is these people are Muslim. Muslims literally have 4 wives, and inside of these daycares, who's all running?
Dude, what? You're number one. Not all Muslim people are polygamous, and number 2, you're literally Mormon, bro. Fucking stones and glass houses, motherfucker.
Who's all working inside the daycare? Women.
As far as the wives go, that's not a thing in Utah?
It's not a thing in Utah.
That's a negative stereotype?
Negative stereotype.
How many wives would you like to have?
As many as God will give me.
Oh, buddy. That's a negative, unfair stereotype of Mormons. Anyway, I'm going to completely, without any kind of self-awareness, do the same thing to a different group of people.
I grew up with 2 mothers and I...
Oh no.
Crash Bandicoot has already reached my neocortex.
Thank you, Sake Tanuki, for understanding me. I appreciate you. And Crash Bandicoot.
I absolutely loved it.
The general population, 99% of the population in Utah, do not. That's why also going back to the point of being called why we don't call ourselves Mormons, because you can misconceptualize that with groups that left the original Church of Jesus Christ.
Well, I would argue that less than 1% of Muslims in America have more than a single wife.
I don't know.
I mean, generally the law precludes you in America from having multiple wives. Just as an FYI, or multiple husbands.
Their religion allows them to have it. Maybe if they are, good for them. But
you know, I brought this up earlier, and I thought it wasn't going to be relevant. But anyway, remember how Nick Shirley said Joseph Smith was a prophet? Anyway, here's a chart of Joseph Smith's wives. 7 wives under the age of 18, and 34 wives total. You need a fucking flowchart for it. But anyway, thanks, Nick.
That is a thing that they are able to have 4 wives. It's in their religion, and it's not against the law.
It'd be really cool to just ask him how many wives he thinks Joseph Smith had.
I'm just saying, when's the last time you seen a Muslim guy with just 4 wives?
Well, they treat their women differently. You'll never see a man. You'll never see a Muslim man praying side by side with his wife. They're treated differently.
So you feel like there's societal and cultural differences that make people from Islamic societies incompatible with the U.S.?
I think if you ask a Muslim man, if we were to go to war with a country in the Middle East, ask them who they would support. That will tell you everything you need to know.
We militarily occupied multiple countries in the Middle East for like 20 years. What are you talking about? I'm holy shit, this man is dumb.
I'm on it.
Like, does Nick Shirley have a pulse? Have we confirmed that he is like actually medically alive?
Yeah, and with the daycare fraud, there's legit videos. You can find them. These daycare owners then going and giving the woman cash, and that's why you also have 81% living on welfare, because a lot of the women don't have to claim the money that they just received from working from these daycares. It's a whole entire corporation. You have daycares, you have home health cares, you have adult daycares, you have transportation companies, you have translators that take these people to the hospital, and they're all working for that same group, and they're all receiving millions of dours.
Yeah, the NGO
cash.
The NGO iceberg is pretty crazy.
And so why would you be actually doing paperwork correctly or giving these women paperwork if you know if you don't pay them on paper, you can just give them cash?
Yeah.
And then they can go and claim welfare and get food stamps and then claim housing and get free housing. Why would you do that? It's obviously it's fraud, but it's screwing over Americans.
Well, it's time to stop getting screwed.
I 100% agree. And so we have the opportunity to make that change, and we have to do it, or else
we're going to keep getting screwed.
We're going to keep getting screwed.
And, I think that's the Nick Shirley, Andrew Callahan message is whoever you are, stop screwing us.
Yes.
All right, bro. Appreciate your time.
Channel 5 live worldwide, Hollywood and Vine.
Fuck the authority, Channel 5 News.
Channel 55. We don't fuck with custers.
Okay, so I would love to tell you that that's where this saga ends, but it's not.
All right, so normally and historically, my policy for whenever somebody is saying some factually inaccurate stuff about me online is to turn the other cheek, keep my head down, and get back to grinding. But in this case, with Mr. Nick Shirley, who is now falsely accusing me of conducting an...
Watch this. I sat down with a journalist who claims to be left-leaning, and what does he do? Edits a 2.5-hour-long interview into 1 hour and cuts out any part where he looks bad. Journalism is only journalism when you show the truth. When you only post what will benefit. I'm not going to seek this out to read the rest because we all know how dumb this man is.
Unfairly edited interview. I think I'm going to pick option 2 and let people know what went down. Journalistic integrity is something that I kind of take a little bit seriously, and I can see a future wherein access is limited to prominent people, especially conservatives, if I don't dispel this false narrative immediately in its entirety right the heck now. So to do this right, I'll have to show you a couple of things, including text messages between him.
I really hate making him feel comfortable with having a potato for brains. I think that's just kind of like Andrew Callahan's interview style is to like have an actual interest in the person he's talking to, which can lead him to some interesting places in interviews. He's generally never trying to like confront someone. He's more just interested in the person, and like I think that serves him well in a lot of different situations. Not so well in this one, mostly because like he put in a lot of effort in trying to make this guy look good. He spat in his face for it, so.
And actual footage of the working premiere sequence that I used to edit the interview so you can see what was cut and why. So let's begin with an editing lesson. So when we're dealing with a long-form interview of somebody who talks very slowly and circles back to repetitive talking points, one of the first things that we do in post-production is cutting what's called dead air, which means long pauses between words or sentences or fixable verbal stammers that slow down the conversation and risk boring the viewer. So in this raw interview with Nick, which had a total runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, we had to cut nearly a half an hour of dead air to make it listenable. Many people like to choose their words carefully, so I get it, but there was a couple points in the interview that even in person we had to have Nick repeat himself because the crew felt that no amount of corrective editing would possibly be able to make him sound normal.
It's been an interesting few days, past 72 hours. My video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than Mr. Beast.
Can you say the fraud in Minnesota again? Then you kind of stuttered.
Yeah. Oh, wait, are there going to be cuts in this or just going to be one take?
Which will make it perfect. So if we ask for to say it again, it's just to make sure you say it perfectly.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, so my video on the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, expose style, than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast.
So bear with me here.
This sounds excruciating to exist through.
I'm going to show you the raw footage, and we'll see how with the magic of editing, we were able to make Nick sound actually smarter and faster than he was in person. Check this out. How does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the HHS, Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars.
You know what? He talks like a dog that has peanut butter in its mouth. You know, that's what he's doing right now.
To these businesses that are not.
Like if you had a talking dog movie and that dog got peanut butter in his mouth, like it would sound like Nick Shirley.
Really businesses.
And how does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the Health and Human Services. They froze all funding.
Look at how much better they made him look in the final cut of this. Like this motherfucker complained
to childcare inside of Minnesota, and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses.
So in that interview, we probably did that same thing as far as trimming dead air and splicing B-roll. No joke. probably 30 times, as you can see here on the timeline. And it was never to take him out of context, but to help him get his point across. We do this for every good faith interview or 5-cast we've conducted so far. From Hunter Biden, which had a raw runtime of 5 hours before being cut to 324, to Hunter Kozak, to Alex Jones, to Hamilton Morris, Jan DeSanti, to pretty much everybody we've ever talked to.
Exactly. 100% not. Is that the and there's this conflation that people have. I mean, I think they're opening up an investigation to cocaine that was found in a cubby outside the the West Wing of the White House.
We aren't live streamers or live podcasters, and we like to package our interviews for efficiency and entertainment value. So that's just something that we do. So the other cuts.
It's true. Us live streamers do misspeak a lot. Don't judge us harshly.
In the Nick Shirley interview that weren't dead air related were conversational beats that I personally found either boring, repetitive, or so off topic to the point that they derailed the conversation away from its intended focus, which was fraud in Minnesota and Shirley's personal background. We cut probably 25 minutes of unproductive, redundant banter about Portland, Mormonism, gay marriage, his new crypto coin. I heard you also made a coin of some kind?
I did not. Well, I didn't make a coin. I just joined a platform where you can monetize your content. And there actually, so yeah, it is a coin. You can then monetize your content, just similar to like how you upload on TikTok. You can upload your stuff on there. It's just based off Coinbase.
Oh boy, he thought Nick Shirley's going around claiming the full interview makes him look better. Oh no.
The history and ethics of welfare in America, and 6 whole, nearly identical back and forths about his 89% statistic that he falls back on unchallenged.
89% of the...
you know what? Actually, I bet the main thing Nick Shirley's mad about is that the meme coin that he has got cut. I bet that's the main thing he's mad about.
Fraud is being committed by Somalians, and 89% of the fraud being committed inside Minnesota is by the Somalian population. 89% of the fraud happening by people who were brought into our country and then committing fraud. So 89% of the fraud happening in Minnesota is from the Somalian population.
Right, but 95% of Somali Americans in Minnesota are legal.
Yeah, 89% of Somalians are committing fraud.
Since we ended up including an extensive dialogue about that stat around the 50-minute mark of the final cut, I personally didn't feel the need to torture all of you guys with 5 other versions of that conversation.
89% of the population, or 89% of the fraud being committed in Minnesota is by Somalians.
And just so we can put that on screen to verify, do you know where that data is from?
Yes, you can put it up on screen. It's public.
And if you watch that raw cut, the 2-hour cut, which I made clear in text with Nick that I was willing to share with him in 4K when I got back from Greenland, you will see exactly what I mean. This is not a Sacha Baron Cohen style ambush edit or a Jim Jeffries Avi Yemeni situation where I primed him, by saying crazy shit to get his guard down and then Shanghai him with post-production. I was trying to help Nick Shirley, which it seems up until yesterday he really appreciated. So after the interview came out about a week ago, he texted me right after saying the backdrop of this interview is hilarious. It was filmed in his uncle's upscale game room in Farmington, Utah, in front of several taxidermied bears that were presumably killed by the Shirley family. He goes on to say, fun watching the reaction from both sides. Appreciate you coming out. Wish you the best in all you do, bro. To which I replied kindly. But then the Clippers started doing the thing that they did Hunter Biden, finding the most outrageous or dumb soundbite in the entire piece and memeing it into oblivion while missing the entire point of the dialogue, which was to try to find common ground on issues like affordability and the collapse of the mainstream media. I mean,
the thing is, I don't think you found common ground here. Like, I think affordability was a common ground. I don't think collapse of mainstream media per se was really the common ground, because he really didn't understand that you dunked on him in that video.
I fundamentally hope that everything you're saying is true, just so you know.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah,
I hope we all have the best interest in society and for our people, because the affordability is insane and people can't buy houses. And if we're talking about creating change,
no idea, mister.
We need to let innovation prosper inside the United States.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing it. We're not seeing innovation. In fact, we're seeing fraudsters take our money.
If you guys saw, the clip that did the most rounds was when Nick tried and failed to pronounce the word benevolent. Who do you think are the 3 most benevolent billionaires?
What do you mean by the word benevolent?
Just well-intentioned, positive billionaires who you think are creative.
Okay, we didn't see that part, but that's incredible.
Net positive societal progress.
Trump? Our president?
Because he never said it right and said benevolent twice, there was no way to cut the dead air or trim the stammer. So we left it in. And personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal to not know that word. I mean, he is wearing a hoodie that is making fun of immigrants for their spelling errors, but benevolent has more syllables than learning, so I get it. But
the fucking shade is incredible. I've never seen Andrew Callahan shit talk someone he's interviewed like this. This is crazy.
the comments on this clip were brutal, like actually genuinely mean. And it couldn't have felt good from his perspective to read these things. We're talking tens of thousands of people declaring this guy is retarded, which he's not. But there are some moments in the interview that even with dead air trimmed for speed, Nick does not give his best performance, particularly when blaming immigrants for rising rent prices.
Like Andrew Callahan's endless amount of charity towards this guy genuinely makes just the basic observations more devastating.
It's just simple supply and demand. If you have 20 million people who need to come and buy a house or rent an apartment, and you have other people who need it, you're going to raise the prices.
Suggesting that Muslim Americans keep multiple wives in private while dismissing the association with his own religion, Mormonism, and polygamy as just a harmful stereotype. As far as the wives go, that's not a thing in Utah?
It's not a thing in Utah.
That's a negative stereotype?
Negative stereotype.
And also confronting me about staying silent on the death of Charlie Kirk, while admitting that he consciously chose to not watch the video that I made in the immediate aftermath of it.
And so I thought that was kind of messed up of you to not publicly denounce what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I did.
And I didn't even watch the interview because I didn't want to watch that.
Well, you should watch it.
I don't want to.
Well, you should watch the video because I say some stuff in it.
Okay, cool.
None of these moments were a very good look for Nick, but I did not engineer them that way. And if I was a betting man, I would suggest that much of the hostility displayed toward him in the comments is because his reporting, which was signal boosted by Trump and his cronies, has been a driving factor in ICE's decision to escalate their presence in Minneapolis. You know?
Yeah. As someone in Minneapolis, we don't fucking like it. If this chuckle nut appears anywhere near you, get the fuck away from him. Like he's there to do propaganda to bring misery to your doorstep.
Kidnapping kids from local high schools, terrorizing U.S. citizens in their own communities, shooting people in the streets, and hiding behind masks like the goddamn cowards they are. However, that's just my personal opinion. I don't like ICE. I don't like Trump, which is something that I made clear to Nick in the interview.
What do you think about Trump?
I don't like him. There was no deception anywhere. But sometimes, and I'm not sure what the word is for this in the journalism field, the person that you interview views your fans as an extension of you. So if your fans are dicks to them, they kind of feel like that's you shading them. And that's definitely what happened. Right after the benevolent clip went micro-viral, Nick began to send texts to me that alluded to the footage being manipulated, writing, "Greenland will be epic and cold. Let me know if you need any locals. I still have some contacts there. Just curious though, why didn't you post a full 2+ hour interview instead of the selected 1 hour of the interview?" Notice the word selected. Nick suggests that I cherry-picked his worst moments, which is concerning because we consciously did the opposite. But as you can see from these texts, I explained our entire editing process to him, as I did to all of you, and as I mentioned, even offered to send him all of the raw video files when I get home from Greenland, which I'm doing now, and gave him full permission to clip any and all moments of the piece for his own socials. Fast forward to 2 days later. I wake up in Nuuk, Greenland to see that Nick has posted a video filmed on a side camera, captioned something like, "In case you guys want to know how the interview really went, here's this." Nick's bullshit crybaby video here points to 2 pieces of damning evidence. Exhibit A. Nick grills me here about Democrat cities being catastrophic failures after failing to understand that I am not a supporter of the Democrat Party. I am from Seattle, a failed blue city, and then asks me to name thriving blue cities. So I named Austin, Nashville, El Paso, and then while smirking, I mentioned Denver because as shown in Nick's angle, I didn't actually know if Denver was doing well because I don't spend much time in Colorado.
Like, when have you seen an American city? What American city is prospering right now?
Austin.
Austin. Name another one.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas is prospering?
Yeah. I think.
Why you think?
It's doing better. New bars and restaurants have opened, but I can probably think of some better examples.
Like what?
Nashville's doing good. Austin's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of.
In any place that's not Democrat.
I don't know about that. I mean,
name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
A city inside of a blue state that is prospering. Denver.
Why are you smirking?
Because I don't know if it's prospering or not.
Because it's not. See, you can't even answer the question, dude. It's not prospering. Denver's not prospering either.
But in post-production, I did some research and found out that my intuition was correct. Denver is currently experiencing a decline in violence and property crime, a large influx in population, job growth in the aerospace, tech, and healthcare sectors, and a number of other great things. So I chose
Denver's a goddamn paradise. We should all go there. Quick, go get the jobs before they're all used up. There's gold in them there mountains.
to trim a brief section after I mentioned Denver that indicates a bit of self-doubt, given that I ended up being...
I'm sorry. I had a welling desire to do a bit.
Incorrect. I also trimmed a soundbite where I said that many Democrat cities will run poorly because it was redundant. After our conversation,
Denver was promised to the ships 3,000 years ago. It's true. It's in our holy aquatic books.
About Denver, I then launched into a tirade about how I am not a Democrat, don't believe in the capacity of the two-party system to enact meaningful change, believe that Gavin Newsom has misappropriated California's tax revenue through NGOs, reinforce my belief in voting on...
Is the gold weed? I'm sure there's a strain of weed called gold in Denver.
Local level, and then give Nick the benefit of the doubt and say that I hope he's right about Trump and the GOP's ability to mitigate the affordability crisis that's made many places like my hometown, Seattle, unlivable for those who grew up there. So I support voting on a local level for sure. I also suggest if you're watching this and you want to see videos that I've made about dysfunctional blue cities, watch San Francisco streets, Albuquerque streets, Las Vegas tunnels, and Philly streets. So the second clip that Nick posted really makes my blood boil because it is so disingenuous. As I mentioned 6 or 7 times in this interview, Nick references the stat that 89% of fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalis. We aired the version where we asked him to show us the data on his phone, which he found using Google search results powered by ChatGPT. So in the video he posted, you can see me look in the camera after he shows it to me and saying something like, all right, damn, I guess he's right then. Let's put that on screen.
Here, right here, the figure 89% does not represent the total percentage of all fraud in Minnesota. Instead, it refers to the percentage of individuals charged in connection with specific high-profile federal fraud cases. Somalians.
89% of those charged in connection with major... Wow.
Identified as Somalian Americans.
Well, looks like it looks like
I'm interested to see what you put in this interview, because...
Looks like there is a problem with fraud. He is...
Holy shit. Holy shit, look at the look on his face. The look on his fucking face. Imagine your interview subject shows it to you. You read, like, he reads it out loud to you. And he doesn't realize how fucking stupid it makes him look. No!
It looks like
I'm interested to see what you put in this interview, because...
Looks like there is a problem with fraud. He is kind of right. However, the stat refers specifically to the already litigated Feeding Our Future case, which resulted in over 60 fraud convictions in Minnesota. The ringleader of the nonprofit behind the scam, Amy Bach, is white, but it is true that 89% of convicted defendants in that case were Somali. And that's what makes me so pissed about this particular piece of evidence that Nick presents. The exact thing that he is showing me on his phone in the video is what I put on screen on the final cut. I did exactly what I said I would. He frames my decision to put that on screen as some kind of like liberal ball-busting fact check, but it's actually supplemental context for something he is literally fucking showing me, which is why it pisses me off. So that's all I have to say. I'm just in a phase in my life where I've been doing this for so long, and I care about this so much that I don't want to play these kind of games, especially with people who can't take an L. I want to put my credibility on the line by spinning things in a way that benefits their reputation.
He literally went out of his way to try and make me look bad, which is not cool, and I wouldn't say that's like very benevolent of him to do.
I think my policy moving forward, especially when working with people who are filming their own versions of things and lack the integrity to be honest with their fan base, is to either go live during every interview or upload the full raw files on Patreon the moment a final cut hits YouTube, so there's no room for these kinds of shenanigans, because it's exhausting, and I've got real investigations and real documentaries in the field, in the works, that I need to prioritize over these Miletta's antics. 2026, keep my fucking name out your mouth. 5.
Channel 5 Live.
even on the third attempt, when he knows what the word is, he still can't read it. That's crazy. Anyway, we have one last thing to watch for the final part of this series. Because it's not done. Because guess what? The world's dumbest fucking man went to go testify in front of Congress.
I'm here in Washington, D.C., and today I will be testifying in front of Congress.
Because this man's video was so compelling to conservatives that they called him in front of Congress to testify. This fucking brainlet, dog.
Works is I will be testifying right here. Each person will have 5 minutes to testify. And then up here you have all of the congressmen and congresswomen. They also will have their time as well. And I'm going to be talking about the widespread fraud that's been happening inside the United States. And
again, the fraud of a random guy with a bunch of burly, like, black masked folks showed up outside of a bunch of daycares and they wouldn't show me children. That proves fraud. Yeah, okay. All right.
In Minnesota, as you guys all saw, I exposed the open and blatant fraud that's taking place inside of...
Also, bro, how do you look so exhausted? You're 23. What's wrong with you? Take a goddamn nap.
Minnesota. And so therefore I'm here to testify about that. And what will happen is each one of these congressmen will have then 5 minutes to go and ask me questions. And there'll be a clock on one of these screens, and for 5 minutes I have to answer all questions that are directed to me. It's almost like a shot clock in a basketball game where you have to go until the timer runs out. And really quick, the quality leering hoodies are live on the website.
Wait, you're gonna be on the clock for your answer? So, like, you're gonna get, like, what, 2 words out before the clock runs out? Okay.
Shirley Defense, you can go ahead and get it in the link in the description or in the pinned comment down below. And now let's just...
Wait, he's 23? He's 23.
Fight in front of Congress.
Mr. Shirley, you're recognized for your opening statement.
Awesome. I'm here today to speak on behalf of all hardworking...
Oh, yes, he's just exhausted because he's thinking too hard. That's right.
Law-abiding, tax-paying citizens here inside of the United States. I've helped bring to light widespread fraud that's happening inside our nation, and we the people have had enough of our hard-earned money going towards fraudsters as if it's no big deal. As I speak here, I want to ask everyone a question. How much do we trust when we pay our taxes it's going to benefit our nation? People erupted during the Boston Tea Party over just a few percentages as they believed they were being taxed without representation. Nowadays, we have the representation, but do we trust our representatives? My name is Nick Shirley, and I made a 41-minute...
Okay, but do we trust our representatives? Nowhere in your video did you prove that representatives in Minnesota were, like, deliberately doing a scam with Somali management of daycares. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just keeps spiraling bigger and bigger and bigger from the initial video. And we spent 3 hours going over that initial video. And I do apologize for folks for spending this much time on this, but, like, this has intimately harmed my life and my safety and the lives and safety of people that are very near and dear to my heart. And so I have to talk about this. We have to cover this. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on it, but, like, damn, dude.
Video that I posted on platforms like X and YouTube. My video received over 100 million views, and it created instant change within our government. As the federal government launched investigations in departments such as Health and Human Services froze over $185 million in childcare funding until businesses can prove they are legitimate businesses. I actually became aware of the fraud that was happening in Minnesota in June of 2025 as I was there for a separate video, and Minnesotans started reaching out to me, asking me if I was making a video on the fraud. I said, well, what fraud? And this lady, she was a real estate agent, and she says, well, I'm having a hard time selling my properties because people are curious about these assisted livings that are popping up next door to some of the houses that we're buying, or the home health care clinics that are popping up, and we don't know who's next to these houses that we're trying to sell. And I said, well, I'm not gonna come and make a video if I don't have any proof. So therefore I left Minnesota, and I continued to look for fraud in the best way I could. And as I was getting my own information, a man by the name of David reached out to me and he said, hey, I have been investigating this fraud for years now. I have been driving by these child care centers. I have never seen a single child, and I have received the information from the state of Minnesota as to how much money these places are receiving. I said, great, let me come to Minnesota and we'll make this video about potential fraud that was taking place inside of Minnesota. We go to a daycare.
Why would home healthcare companies affect housing prices? My understanding is that the allegation here from that real estate agent is that there were a bunch of companies nearby that they had trouble getting a hold of that were home healthcare companies, and for whatever reason, not being able to contact them was a barrier to selling the home. And I don't know why that would be at all.
And I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that building. And the first thing I noticed is all the windows are blacked out, and there's no footprints in the snow of any children. There's no playgrounds or anything that would make it look like it's a child care. But above me, a sign read, open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But there was nobody there. The doorbell did not even work. And then we continued to go to other daycares and we noticed the same pattern. No children, blacked out windows, and one daycare, a learning center, spelled Quality Learning Center instead of Quality Learning Center. They had received $1.9 million, yet with that $1.9 million, they could not even spell leering right on their sign.
Dude, you can't even say benevolent. Like, shut the fuck up.
Governor Walz has said he's been fighting fraud.
At least after the typo was pointed out to them, they fixed their sign. But after having your inability to pronounce benevolent pointed out, you still weren't able to pronounce benevolent.
Minnesota since 2019 and said the buck stops with him. However...
Yeah, no, like, Mr. 509, if you go and watch, like, the original Nick Shirley video that he put out, or my coverage of it, you will see me bemusedly, like, stop the stream so many times and be like, this motherfucker is genuinely wandering around like an office building full of, like, medical offices and wondering why no one is going there to get healthcare when they are home healthcare companies that send nurses to your home. They don't do the healthcare there. God.
How long would it take for you to notice $1 million leaving your bank account and not knowing where it's going? That's essentially what had been happening in Minnesota for years, as billions of dollars have been misplaced. And meanwhile, while people like Governor Tim Walz call people like me a white supremacist, delusional conspiracy theorist, he actually decided to drop out of re-election because I believe of how deep and extensive this fraud is. Thank you very much. Since my reporting, the HHS department froze over $185 million, and to this day, not a single business has been able to prove proof of legitimacy. How fast would you be proving that you are a legitimate business if you have children to actually feed and to take care of? You'd be sending in that paperwork instantly. I made this video to document the widespread fraud that has been taking place, as I truly believe all fraud is bad. And people like me, my generation, we're sick of seeing tax dollars go towards fraud. We just want to have the same opportunities that our fathers and our grandparents had. And when you see people making millions of dollars by committing fraud, it upsets everybody from all age demographics. And so I hope today we can have a good conversation, and I think we can all agree that fraud is bad and that fraud is fraud. And I wish the best for our country, and I think that's what needs to be happening, is to crack down on all forms of fraud. So thank you for having me, and God bless the USA.
Now time to take some questions.
Mr. Shirley, now I guess investigative journalists are known as right-wing social media influencers. So,
oh God, you guys saw his video, man. Well, actually, that's giving Congress people too much credit. You guys are trying to pretend you saw his video.
Can you confirm how many daycare centers you personally visited in Minnesota during your investigation?
During that first video we went to around 7.
How did you select those facilities? I know you said earlier footprints in the snow, but how was it that you identified those facilities to go to initially?
So the man David in the video, he had the daycares with the CCAP funding, and we just simply drove around Minnesota and around Minneapolis area.
It took a lot of courage to do that, I would imagine. Probably more so now than what it was when you initially did it. 100 million views, you said.
Yes, over 140 million views on X alone.
So what was Mr. David's background? How did you connect with him, and how did he call you, or did you reach out?
He simply is just a man in Minnesota who has a passion for his city, and he's been seeing...
This fucking lying piece of shit. Remember when that racist came in here the other day? Remember when that racist came in here the other day and was like, but people testified in front of Congress, and they said Keith Ellison was doing fraud with these guys. Like, I just want to really point out here, testifying in front of Congress is not a guarantee that these people are telling the fucking truth. Saying, oh, this guy that I used as my sole source in the video, he's just a average Minnesota man, and completely leaving out that he is directly tied to the legislative activities of the Minnesota GOP is dishonest as fucking shit.
Fraud taking place for years, and out of all the...
He's just a simple man who's really invested in fraud. Don't look at his social media history because it will reveal that he hates Somali people and thinks that they are fucking Muslim demons. That's his words. Don't look at his social media, though. If you don't know it, then they can't use it against you in a court of law. That's a helpful tip for you, Congressman.
Thousands of messages I get on Instagram and other platforms, I just happened to read his, and he provided me the information, so I gave him a phone call.
And then from there, just went to those different facilities.
Mikola Brigida, yes, you got it.
What was probably the most interesting thing as you were doing this? I think I saw the video. We watched it, and it looked like it was a number.
He watched it. Okay.
Of facilities like in the same building.
Yes. So in one building there was, I believe, 3 daycares, and there was no children, and they were all receiving CCAP funding for separate daycares. There's one daycare we went to that one day it was closed by the government, and then that same day it was reopened underneath another name, and they both received CCAP funding.
So how many daycares are there in Minneapolis we think are fraudulent right now? Ms. Shirley, any idea? Are the amount of money total? You get any idea on that?
Well, they've frozen over $185 million, and not a single business has been able to prove that they're a legitimate business yet.
It's $185 million for sure that we know.
Mr. Shirley, thank you for your testimony.
Also, it's not unheard of to have multiple daycares in one building, just as an FYI.
Today and the work that you've done. Americans hear these numbers of the fraud that we have, and whether it's 10,000 or 10 million or 10 billion, sometimes the numbers, you almost become desensitized to it. And so the way that your video was able to show people the fraud sort of in real life actually happening, I think opened a lot of eyes and has helped to catalyze a level of scrutiny that we really should have had before. So you mentioned in your testimony that you think that what you discovered in Minnesota, that this is not isolated to that state, but likely exists in other parts of the country as well, correct?
Correct.
What makes you think that?
Well, now you're seeing, since I've posted that video, a lot...
Yes. I did an investigation in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, and what I found there indicates that fraud is actually nationwide because reasons.
Lots of other people have started to go to other locations, for instance, in Ohio or in Maine or in California. They're also seeing the similar fraud take place in other daycares, for instance.
Yeah, so his evidence is other people in other states tried to go and visit a daycare to look at kids, and the daycares wouldn't let them see the kids because of course they wouldn't, because they're just some random fucking asshats.
In a lot of other locations.
Yeah, I have a particular interest in California, being from that state, and we know that there's been a lot of fraud. There was $32.6 billion that's been confirmed in unemployment insurance fraud. There's 1.2 million fraudulent community college applications. Have you gotten any sense, or have you seen any signs there that sort of are similar to what aroused your suspicions in Minnesota?
Yeah, and fraud in California might be worse than the fraud in Minnesota.
What makes you say that?
Well, $24 billion went missing for homelessness. They've been trying to build this train for years, yet there's hardly anything to prove for that. Fires.
Yeah, those are good points. So...
Oh God. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not good points. They're the opposite of that. What? What the fuck? Well, there's a lot of people taking money from the government for unemployment, and also they tried to build a train, and it's very over budget. So, and also there are fires there, and as we know, where there's smoke, there's fire, and where there's fire, there's fraud. Just fuck, man. Can we use the R slur now? No.
Let's run through a couple of those because I mentioned the areas where we have confirmed fraud.
FK'd by the Dems on a House chair position for being Team Bernie back in 2016. FK the Dems, FK the Republicans.
I don't think it was a House position. I think it was like a DNC position. I think he was in the running to be president of or chair of the DNC. I don't know. Something like that. I think it was within the DNC.
But then you also have these areas where you have so much spending, and then we look at what results from.
God, Gamergy, I'm so excited for the new train line. It's gonna be so great.
That spending, and there's nothing. So, $24 billion in homelessness, and yet the homeless population went up. And a state audit found that they couldn't even figure out where the money went or what the outcomes linked to that spending were. Is that something that is kind of a red flag for you?
Yeah, it's a major red flag, and you don't even have to be smart to be able to know that that's a red flag.
Well, unfortunately, our state legislators haven't managed to figure that out, or at least the governor hasn't. So what are you saying about him?
They're not smart. No, but yeah. I mean,
oh, glass houses, Nick. You live in the glassest house of all time. And in your hand, you are holding the rockiest rock.
I mean, it's so obvious, and that's what we saw in Minnesota, is how complicit the government has been in enabling this fraud to happen. Quality Learning Center had over 90 violations, yet they continue to give that daycare $1.9 million.
Yeah, that's a great point. That there's the political accountability just hasn't been there, and that's what enables it to continue. So then you mentioned the high-speed rail as well. So there has been about $18 billion spent so far. No.
How does any of this have anything to do with Nick Shirley's investigation into fraud in Minnesota? Man, the dumbest people alive get elected to Congress. When I said earlier that Nick Shirley, like, where's Nick Shirley gonna be in like 10 years? He's gonna be a fucking congressman. He's gonna be in Congress. Republicans are gonna be like, that's our guy. That's our little man. Let's send him to Congress. He's just gonna fail up. Guys, I need you all, okay? Usually I would save this to the very end, but I need you all to get fucking organized yesterday so that doesn't happen, okay? I think that we need to get organized to make sure that we are able to leverage more political power than whatever Republicans can bring to bear to get Nick Shirley elected in the future, because we need to stop them. I'm not a time traveler, but this is basically the equivalent of me coming back in time from the future to let you know we have to avert that future, okay? All right, we have to. So, folks, join your local Dems, radicalize them to better politics. Join your local DSA, make it more effective. Organize, unionize your workplace, get together with folks. If you need help organizing, join our Discord. Reach out to GamerG for help joining and making your local DSA more effective. Join our Discord and reach out to Dragonfly for help, radicalizing your local Dems. Let's get to work. Are you a Time Lord? I can neither confirm nor deny, but I do look fine as hell, and that should be a tip. Let's go.
Track has been laid and not a single passenger has ridden the train. So when you spend $18 billion on a train and there's no train, does that raise suspicions for you?
Yes.
So you think that might be something worth looking at?
For sure.
We also had a $650 million 911 service that they scrapped after 6 years, so absolutely no value from it. Maybe that's another example where there might at least be questions.
I think you got a lot in California.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing what you find. We're certainly trying to use whatever tools we have here to bring more accountability in California as well.
Mr. Shirley, have you seen any evidence, you said twice today, that $185 million of recipients Not one of them has been able to demonstrate that they are a legitimate business.
No, in fact, they're actually actively suing the HHS to prevent handing over any information.
Right, so they don't even want to give the information that would be required of an audit, that would be required from a separate independent investigation. They want a court to intervene and enjoin and prevent them from having to respond to this kind of investigation. Is that correct, Mr. Shirley?
That is correct.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. We are adjourned.
God. So we just finished up the hearing, and honestly, I'm a little disheartened by how it went because you had the Democrats on this side, you only had one man show up. While these people are congressmen of the United States, they're actively getting paid for a hearing and they actually don't even show up. Just the fact that these people over here are getting paid, but they don't even show up to the hearings.
Yeah, because they have other things to do. My guy, one guy was asking you about high-speed rail in California, something you know literally nothing about. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh god, I'm dying. My brain is cutting off oxygen to itself in an effort to self-terminate. No!
What are we paying them for? That's when I mentioned in my testimony, we have these representatives, but are they actually representing us? So, very interesting hearing today. And remember, quality Leering hoodies are available on the site, shirleydefense.com. You can go to the link in the description or in the pinned comment down below. And I hope you guys all enjoyed my testimony and what I testified about today. The fraud is fraud, and we're going to continue to expose it. Thank you all.
Dude, you don't know what fraud is. You don't know. Wait, what's
very
the
much
end?
for watching. Can you please give Ilhan Omar a quality Leering hoodie?
All right.
Thank you. Hope she likes it. Hopefully she leers a little, because fraud's bad. All right. Well, they took the hoodie. Ilhan Omar now has her own quality Leering Center hoodie. And if you want one, you can go to shirleydefense.com or go.
Oh man, that's so interesting. I wonder why he gave specifically Ilhan Omar that sweatshirt. You know, there are a lot of elected representatives from Minnesota up on Capitol Hill. I wonder why Ilhan Omar in particular. Oh, it's because he's a racist little freak. He's dumb as hell. And that often goes hand in hand with racism. What a piece of shit. This man has gleefully brought down thousands of ICE agents on my community and made my life terrifying. I fucking hate this little weasel. Anyway, that is the end of our saga for now. I hope you enjoyed it or got anything out of it. Please organize so that he doesn't become a congressperson. Please, for the love of God. Please, 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 please organize so he doesn't become a congressperson. And also, leave a like. Comments longer than 8 words help. Consider subscribing. And also, consider supporting the stream financially if you're at all able. You guys make this show possible. And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Tested on cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. And you know what? It's non-tucking lingerie. It's super comfortable. And folks, check it out. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.